What's going on, Tom? You on the phone?
Yeah, no, I'm good.
How you doing?
I'm doing well, man. I mean, I have never in a million years thought I would be part of a discussion that I was part of yesterday.
What?
And
What? They're doing a
I
discussion.
I call so first of all, I just want to clarify a couple things. 'Cause I hear people saying, without the fatalities of Gordon Mortal Kombat, it wouldn't sell. Let me just say a couple things. I never said that DOA's revealing stuff isn't part of DOA. Idagaki, by his own admittance, originally had three pillars: gambling, sex, violence, which, by his own words, would make it 33% of the equation, not 50. Even in his other later days, four pillars of casual, pro, violence, sex, etc., and even if you want to throw gambling in there, would make it 25% to 20% of the equation. So, by even the pillars of Dead or Alive, it's not even part of it. Um, the fatality in Mortal Kombat, what I mean is, it doesn't have to be over the top for it to sell. You know what I mean? So
hmm
I think most fans would have, most people like the brutalities more than the fatalities. Would you agree?
Most people prefer the. Do you say the fatalities over
The
the brutality?
brutalities right now. Because the brutalities are just basically, many of them are the classic fatalities from old, now as a quick brutality. Like,
I
it
think
is more
that.
likely to see a
I,
brutality done in competition than somebody stop and do a 2-minute fatality.
I think yeah. I think in competition, but I think if they took away, if they were to both, if they were to take away fatalities and brutalities, people would be more pissed at fatalities being taken away.
No, what I mean is, if they brought the fatalities back to the quick fatality. So if Sub-Zero, they brought back his spine rip, it was quick,
Mm.
10, 15 seconds, rip the spine out, show it to you, the blood comes out. Nobody
Yeah.
would say, well, where they shaved a minute and 30 seconds of blood. Like, nobody would say that. So there's a
Mm.
level of violence that is still just fine. It doesn't need to be what it is now. In fact, more would prefer it to go back to the way fatalities used to be. They just still want fatalities. They still want the blood, etc.
Yeah.
For DOA, it doesn't need to be a tape measure to see how much leg is somebody showing for the game to be successful. You can still be revealing and provocative without being to the level that they're saying it should be. And it would still do well. Nobody would say because of a quarter inch longer outfit that I can't play this game. Like, I just think they're
Yeah.
going a little too far. That's what I was trying to say.
I think everyone's got different like wants from DOA. I'm more in line with what you want, and I don't really care about that stuff. But when you left yesterday, I did clarify and say that if they put that stuff in the game, I'm completely fine with it because I'm not gonna interact with it anyway. So if everyone's happy, then I'm happy. It's
You know,
whatever. But
what
I
gets
think they need to find a healthy middle ground.
I agree. What gets lost, I talked to Sorwa, Matt Ponton earlier today, and he and I have always agreed. It's so backwards when someone like Team Ninja or even Itagaki thought that the competitive player will never understand the casual mindset. It's the other way around, because even like, I understand once you become a competitive player and you play another fighting game, you're technically not a casual fighting game player anymore, right? So when DOA came out, I was not a casual, when DOA 1 came out. However, we all approach even a new game as a casual. We play it to see if we like it. And if we do, obviously we know our investment is going to be larger than most. But first, we approach it as a casual. Do we like it enough to go any further than today? Which would make us a casual in that exact moment. So
hmm
something has to grab us for us to put our time into it, right? It's the same thing for a casual player. So we understand I have never heard a competitive player today, if a casual player says, we want more story, we want more single player content. As a competitive player, even back when I was one, we understood times have changed. Casual players require more than pop the game in verses. So we are all for more single player modes, more in-depth story, etc. But the casual player, they don't give a fuck if the game dies tomorrow. Oh, dead for you. I got plenty. So the casual player doesn't care. And the problem is, the casual will never stay as long as the player who wants to take the game more serious. So the casual is basically largely doesn't care. All the casuals elements are elements that will be enjoyed and consumed in a very short period of time. All the
Mhm.
elements that the more competitive player want has to be enough to sustain for multiple years. And because the casuals don't care about that, and maybe a developer doesn't care about that because they don't care about that, it's actually the competitive player that gets fucked in the end.
Yeah.
And no
I think
casual fuck would. How many times competitive players don't say, "I don't care what cool modes casuals." Well, they'll say, "Hey, cool for you. I want to engage in it, but I believe you should have it." A casual player, they don't care. They will always say, like, "Well, nobody cares what you have to say. We're the casual." Do they not have that attitude, Mike? No.
yeah, I'm completely on your side of this. I think it's very important to obviously get the casuals in because they obviously facilitate most of the sales. But in my experience, that is what has happened. I remember when Bleach Rebirth of Souls was coming out, and they were trying to like push it as like, oh, this is the anime game for the anime guys. It's going to be competitive, and the diehard Bleach fans of the anime and manga were telling the fighting game guys to basically, piss off. They say your game. We don't want to hear from you. This is for the casuals. This is for the Bleach fan. And what ended up happening is not 1 week after that game came out, who was left playing the game? The people that were pushing competition. All the Bleach fans, the fans of the anime and the manga, they were nowhere to be seen. So I'm on your side of that. I think that it's important to get them in. I think it's important to satisfy them. But the
Yep.
reality is that they are going to leave, and the hardcore players are the ones that will stay.
But see, they don't think it's important to satisfy the hardcore players.
Well, that's on the developers, though. The developers need to have more common sense. The developers should understand that they should make the mechanics to cater towards competitive players because casual players, as we know, they're going to indulge with it anyway because they're not looking to go to that next level. And the developers should know that we're past the first month. The hardcore players are staying now. We need to cater to them. If the casuals don't care about what we want, it really doesn't matter. If I was a
Yeah.
developer, I would say I'll give the casuals what they want. I'll provide them with plenty of single player content. Whether they stay or not doesn't matter because we've got their money now. But the people that are gonna stay, like me and you, I need to make sure that I'm listening to them now. So I don't really care what the casual players are saying, not in a rude way, because they can say whatever they want. But it's on the Ed Boons and the
Mhm.
Haradas to figure that out.
Yeah, I want to say this at the beginning because I know people are going to say it when I'm talking about Idagaki. What has he done since he left Tecmo? When he didn't have Ninja Gaiden and DOA to make, what has he done? Fair enough. Let me tell you how the world works.
Oh, just
If
before you do,
great
Tom,
ideas, if great
just
multi,
just before you do, I'm just gonna let
yeah,
people know that there is a DOA lobby in the background here. So if anybody wants to jump in and play DOA while me and Tom are talking, then just boot up DOA 5 last round, and my lobby's open here. So yeah,
awesome.
sorry, go on.
If great ideas that could make multiple millions of dollars were common, fighting game players wouldn't be where they were. Nobody would be where they were. We'd all be making millions of dollars with great ideas. And when you have a great idea, it's tough to make another one because they're not common. So Itagaki not going anywhere and doing anything after DOA doesn't mean anything because he couldn't take his idea with him. And then he had to start from scratch and make a whole new idea. And that's not easy. Take Mortal Kombat. People say, "Oh, Ed Boon, look what he does." If Ed Boon left Midway and left NetherRealm and started a new game studio, call it Ed Boon Realm, and he made MK11, only it was not called Mortal Kombat, and all the characters were different names, but it was the exact game, it
Hmm.
would not sell. It would be terrible. Mortal Kombat 1. If Ed Boon went somewhere else and released Mortal Kombat 1 as it was, characters and cameos, and it was unfinished as it was day one, but it was a different game. It wasn't called Mortal Kombat. Nobody's buying that shit, right? And then it would be, what has Ed Boon done? But see, Ed Boon gets to restart from scratch by using the name Mortal Kombat and the characters of Mortal Kombat. So no matter how shit his ideas are, after he has a good one, it still sells. If you remove Mortal Kombat from Ed Boon and he makes the exact same game, MK11 and call it something else, MK1 and call it something else, nobody wants to play that shit. And all the faults that people overlooked at the time would certainly not be overlooked. That's what happens when you move on and you can't take your ideas with you and the name with you and the characters with you. So for say Idagaki, what is it? Cause that's what Yu Suzuki after Virtua Fighter. How many fighting game hits was he making? I mean,
I have no idea.
Do you think Harada is going to go somewhere else and make a game that's as big as Tekken?
No, I think that's a good point because a lot of people think that just because you made something great, that you can replicate that kind of magic. Like I always look at Akira Toriyama, even though like he made a lot of cool things, nothing really reached the heights of Dragon Ball. And if they took that away from him, I don't think you could shit on him for not being able to recreate that somewhere else.
100%. 100%. Because Joe Siegel and Jerry Schuster made Superman. You could say, what have they done after that? They made Superman.
Yeah.
What has anyone done to make something as big as Superman? They haven't. Period.
How do you feel about Superman no longer being the highest selling comic? Did you see that news that came out today?
Yeah. What is the highest selling right now?
One Piece. One Piece has overtaken Superman.
Yeah. I mean,
I know you're a Superman guy.
I honestly do think that it didn't used to be how he was portrayed in movies and things like that have an effect on it, but it certainly does now with how modern culture is. I mean, I can't possibly expect younger people to read a book anymore. I mean, my God, so how things are portrayed in on media is a big deal. And honestly, I'm looking at Superman's whatever, and I'm like, I don't know, but this Superman that we see on the big screen today, I don't know, but that guy would have been selling what he sold. So,
are you more of a Henry Cavill guy, or are you more for the new guy?
I'm a Christopher Reeve guy, brother.
Yeah, makes sense.
Christopher Reeve also had Clark Kent down, which was such a big part of Superman. I don't like Henry Cavill. It's not about Henry Cavill per se. I don't like how he was written. Superman's power. So the problem is, I get that Superman doesn't work for what people think modern movies want. In other words, people think like we have to make a Superman movie like we make other movie. Like, hey, he's Superman. Hey, like Batman. Like, oh, Batman, he's had tough times just like me, had to crawl. Even though he has money, they made Batman like a tragedy story. You know what I mean? People can relate to some of that or some of those feelings. Superman doesn't have problems like regular people, right? But Superman it is about making you want to be the best of what you can become. He's not just a character on a screen. He's there to inspire. Superman is not meant to be relatable. He is not meant to lose. But that's not what makes Superman what he is. What makes Superman what he is he's Superman and he still does the right thing. And it makes everyone else want to be a better version of themselves. Very similar to Goku. You know what I mean? Like how Goku is, right? It's the idea of Goku that has him, that inspires, right? Goku doesn't have everyday problems, right? But Goku inspires. So does Superman. That's why that debate was people were so passionate about it. So I just don't think Hollywood understands what Superman is.
Yeah. So with regards to today, like, were you covering like doing this DOA topic?
Oh, this is going to be good history, man.
So what did you want to start right at the very beginning? Also, I don't know why it's put me in
I
the fight. I was meant to be
I
a
did, I
spectator.
did. So people don't realize Itagaki worked on like Tecmo Bowl, or was it Tecmo Super Bowl, or was it both? Tecmo Bowl was a very popular game. Yeah, we all played it in the 90s, or the 80s, I mean, for Nintendo, whatever. And then I think Tecmo Super Bowl was in the early 90s. Uh, but at Tecmo, sales not going so well. They had several years of loss. First of all, I just want you to understand the balls of Itagaki to say, hey, give me the reins. I will make a game that can sell, and have that game be a fighting game. For a fighting game to be successful in the 90s, first it had to get arcades to buy it. Then it had to sell on console. For a fighting game to sell on console, as saying like it's called Dead or Alive because Tecmo was Dead or Alive based on how that game did. To make a fighting game and say this is the game that sales are going to save us, that takes some balls. And keep in mind, it came out in 96. Look what it was up against. I think the Alpha series had just newly come out in
Yeah.
96. You have Street Fighter 2. You have, I don't know about Street Fighter the movie. You have KI, KI2, Mortal Kombat 1, Mortal Kombat 2, Mortal Kombat 3, Virtua Fighter. You already had so many blockbuster established titles. Dead or Alive, it was not an easy time in the arcade when you are flooded with options to release a fighting game. Like you walk into an arcade and look at all the games that are there that you're already playing, and now here's this Dead or Alive game. So it was not easy to do, and then especially for the console sales. I remember we got the flyer. If you want to show it up on the screen again, DOA was successful in Japan, and then it was marketed to North America. These flyers went out to North American arcades, in which it was an advertisement. Hey, listen, this game is a proven winner in Japan. And I don't think that many arcades over here in the States got it. I was one of the lucky ones that did. And DOA 1 was very, it was so different that I fell in love with DOA right away. The reason why I loved Mortal Kombat is it was different than everything else. And DOA was different than everything else. Sure, it used the Virtua Fighter, punch kick free, kind of where's VF, I believe, guard. And so was free, but free had other uses. But it was such an interesting game. And Itagaki realized that something that, keep in mind, developers didn't start doing this for probably 10, 12 years after Itagaki did, where Itagaki said, the casual player, there are a lot of things in fighting games that aren't easy for them. But Itagaki realized, hey, I don't have to sacrifice the good players for the casuals or the casuals for the good. I can make a game that would appeal to both. So what he did was, what was hard for the casuals? Complex inputs. He knew casuals, they don't want complex inputs. They don't like it. So he simplified all the inputs, all the moves, all the strings, very simple to do. Everything was simple to do. And even the hold, you just hit hold and you could hold like high, mid, and lows just by touching the button, or down on the button or whatever. And it would just kind of do like a quick slap. You didn't have like the holds like you have today. So, and everything could be held. Stuns were everywhere. You have the danger zone that would pop people up. So Itagaki, the graphics were really good. The gameplay was fast. There were explosions everywhere. Obviously, the females were what they were. It was just a very fun, fast-paced, visually appealing game that had some depth to it and was also very simple for the beginner to get into. Probably a little too simple, but it worked for what it needed to do. And Itagaki was the first fighting game developer ever to go this route, but nobody from the other games that were like Street Fighter or whatever player were like, oh, this game is shit, whatever. They're like, oh, it looks good, it's fun. And maybe they didn't play it like hardcore because obviously they'd be Street Fighter players or Tekken players or MK players, but they quite enjoyed it. I thought the game was fun. The best thing someone can say about a fighting game is it's fun. That is the best thing you can say about a game. More so than it's high level or advanced, is the game is fun. Best compliment you can say about a game. So DOA was quite a big success, and I'm probably the only one left from the original day one Dead or Alive scene. We got DOA plus plus. It was on a Japanese cabinet. It was before we saw the images of DOA 2, but obviously it didn't come right to America. Only a few arcades got it here. And it was almost like DOA 2. It was very DOA 2 like. Idagaki gave you more outfits, more content. Idagaki also, they put in, it was more of a DOA 2 system. So he was experimenting with where he wanted to go in the next game, I guess, to kind of like see. Again, think of how innovative that is. I'm going to make another revision to this game, but it's going to be almost like a template of what I'm experimenting with for the next one.
Mm-hmm.
And this was not done in modern times like today. It was being done in 98, which again is just, unreal.
Would you say this is like one of the reasons why Harada looked up to him so much?
I think so. I really do think so. I think Itagaki was not afraid to do things that many developers were. And maybe it was out of desperation. You need a Hail Mary at that point, right? You're fighting for the life of that company. So, desperation brings evolution in a lot of ways. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, on Earth, why did we evolve? For survival. That's where, like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
A Tyrannosaurus, and if you follow its origin all the way back, was a dinosaur about this big, a long time ago, right? I mean, it's always survival. So DOA plus plus was way more advanced. It had way more. The inputs were way more advanced. Individual holds for like every point, like high, punch, kick, mids, lows, all double direction holds. That's where the double direction hold system comes from. And juggle system a little different. Well, kind of the same basically, but it was very similar to DOA 2, but not quite. And we quite enjoyed it. We really loved plus plus. Itagaki, really loved it. We really enjoyed it. And obviously, it had to have been received well in Japan. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had a DOA 2.
Mm-hmm.
When DOA 2 was launched, I remember seeing it in, it might have been the very early Dreamcast magazines that hadn't come out in arcade yet. And the Dreamcast was maybe almost a year out. And we were seeing images of Dead or Alive 2. When DOA 2 came out, it was not uncommon to see it circulated more worldwide than DOA 1. And a lot of areas had it. DOA 2 might be the greatest fighting game of all time, and that it is the missing link of fighting games. A developer,
In what way?
in the way that it is the only game. Developers are kind of looking for this. So developers have tried all kind of ways to make their games sell, while at the same time having the audience happy, right? Both the casual and competitive side. So they've tried making games more hardcore, but we know the casual side doesn't like it as much. It's too difficult, etc. They tried making games more casual friendly, but a lot of times they go too far over the line. Then you have the more competitive audience, saying, the game's too easy. They're making it too easy. They're dumbing things down. So that green zone has really never been hit. Developers are still to this day looking for that green zone. Whereas Itagaki found it in Dead or Alive 2. He made a game that was advanced enough for the high-level player to really enjoy it and find it sufficiently advanced that it rewards your time and your skill. But it's also not so advanced that the beginner says, I don't like this game. I don't want to play this game. But again, it's also not so beginner friendly that the high level player, again, to go back, has to kind of loop into itself. Hey, this game is too beginner friendly. I don't like it.
If
So
you
it
were to
was the
scale
only,
it, if you were to scale it by modern fighting game standards, how hard or easy would you say it is?
6.5, which I think is kind of like the green zone.
Hmm.
It can't be a 10. You're never going to get any casual. Then you know what I mean? You get like VF4, you know what I mean? Where most casuals felt it was just too difficult. And the VF4 had so many systems in that game, but the casual audience just didn't resonate with them. It was just too hard. Um, Idagaki kind of found that green zone. And first of all, it checked all the boxes. First things first, how visually appealing is it? If you walk by the machine, how likely are you to notice this game, right? In an arcade, especially where you're flooded with eye candy, a game has got to stand out, especially a game that arcade owners are going to pay a lot of money for because it was on the new Naomi hardware. Naomi, I believe the first game that hit arcades on Naomi was VF3, and it was the first arcade cabinet to have a dollar bill validator. DOA 2 also had a dollar bill validator. Most arcades charged like $1.25 to $1.50 to start, and then $1 to continue. It was very expensive because owners had to pay a lot of money for it. So obviously they have to make their money back.
Hmm.
So keep in mind how, again, the game has to be when you're charging this kind of money to play. The arcade games overnight went from a quarter to 50 cents to now you're paying $1 every time you're going to play the game. So it had to have that visual appeal that makes you even want to put your dollar in to begin with. So visually, it was absolutely amazing. Uh, then the sound, DOA has got great music, great colors, great graphics. Itagaki also mastered strange transitions. It was done okay in VF3. I was a big VF3 player. It was done okay in VF3, but DOA2 really mastered it. The interactive stages and the transitions and the stage being part of the game. It wasn't done in a way that makes you say, I don't really like it that well. It was done extremely well at a time where this is considered a revolutionary concept and not really received, all that well sometimes.
Hmm.
Um, so Itagaki, he was just hitting that green zone in all these areas. The Then obviously you have to play the game, right? So the characters, are the characters are big characters. They're not small characters. They're big characters. So
Can I
nice,
just say,
big,
Tom, I don't mean to derail, but this costume that Lisa's wearing is absolutely outrageous.
isn't it?
I, I, I I feel I see what people are saying when they're saying five went over the top with the costumes. That is, can you imagine Evo Grand Finals like this?
Yeah. No,
It's a bit
100%.
it's a bit too much.
No, 100%. So
Yeah,
yeah,
sorry.
Itagaki, the characters were visually appealing. They were big characters. The soundtrack was awesome. The volume was almost always turned up to its highest level in the arcades because obviously the owner is paying a lot of money for this. They want to make their money back, so they're going to try everything they can to draw attention to DOA. So all this was done, and then obviously the gameplay has to be very good. The strings and commands were not complex. Maybe the hardest thing in the entire game was probably for the casual, the Azuna, which is, you know, as a throw, just like a half circle forward throw motion, or maybe a quarter circle forward, and then a half circle forward to up, and then a 360 motion for because the half circle forward to up makes him go in the air, and then the 360 has the Azuna down. That was probably the most complicated command in the entire game. So, not the easiest thing for a casual, but it's not super complex either, not too hard to do. Some people could do it just by doing a bunch of 360s and free and punch as they were, doing it. So wait, hold on one second. This work call. 1 second, Mike.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I don't. I mean, no offense to any DOA fans. When I was saying the costume looked outrageous, it's just, I think that one, like this costume that Kasumi's wearing, I think that's fine. Like that, there's no issues with that whatsoever. I think that's actually a pretty cool costume. But the other one, that just like what they put a string on her. How much are you charging for that for a string? I guess you're not really paying for the costume at that point. You're just paying to see her naked. She's not really wearing much, is she? But again, like I said, if they put it in the game, I'm not. You ain't gonna hear no complaints from me. I might laugh every now and then, but it's fine. Like if that's what sells DOA, then that's what sells DOA. I don't think it $250 minimum for the discount nudie mod. I did hear the costume prices on these games are outrageous. I think 5 and 6 are the ones that pushed it over the edge. I don't know. I've never purchased a DOA costume before, so I don't actually know how much they cost. Someone said that they were in bundles and then they started splitting them up, so it was just like flooding the PlayStation marketplace with loads of different costumes. My mom would be disappointed if she walked in and saw this. Yeah, I mean, people were saying yesterday, oh, like blood and violence in Mortal Kombat is okay, but this isn't. Yeah, I mean, if my mom walked in and saw me playing Mortal Kombat, she might go, oh, that's kind of gruesome. If my mom walked in and saw Lisa in that string, she'll be like, what the hell are you doing? You objectifying women out here, Mike. It's a bit of a harder conversation than, oh, I got into a fight with this guy and I ripped his head off. I got explained to her, I picked this character and I specifically picked this string. And then she's going to say that she's not a real woman. And I say, yeah, well, she's not a real woman, mother. But this is the costume that I paid $15 for, and I'm gonna wear it proudly. My mom saw me playing Angel in KOF and said she liked her. Well, KOF costumes are, the KOF is more swaggy, man. Like if you need a good tailor, go over to KOF. She'd ask, what is she wearing? What? Basically nothing. Some angles of that costume, it looks like she's got nothing on. I think it's more acceptable for a man to enjoy a woman than blood and gore. Yes, in reality, I think it's different. If you're talking about like real women, then yeah, I get it. But I think like if we're talking about our mothers now and them walking in and seeing this, I think that they would be more willing to allow us to sit there and play a game where we rip someone's head off than having like, obviously my mom can't tell me nothing. If I want to play this game, I can. Obviously, I'm just saying that like in terms of embarrassment or feeling awkward, you ain't gonna really feel embarrassed about ripping off Liu Kang's head, but you might feel embarrassed about using Lisa in a leotard, But like I said, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not saying censor it. I know before someone clips this, let the Kumas have their DOA costumes. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. I think they have your costumes. I'm not against it. We're just having a conversation here. I'm not against it at all. It doesn't matter to me because DOA offers enough that I don't have to sit there and hyper focus on the costumes, Like I really enjoy DOA 5. Don't give a shit about what the women are wearing because I don't
Based on I have to take these. When you run your own business, shit happens. I need to know about it. Otherwise, people start making executive decisions.
No, that's all good, man. We were just talking about the costumes.
Yeah, so the gameplay itself, like I said, it wasn't too difficult for the beginner, but for the competitive player, DOA 2 was quite an advanced system. So DOA 2 had two versions. It had Dead or Alive 2, then it had Millennium. Millennium was a little different than what we got on the Dreamcast version. The Dreamcast version, Idagaki kind of added to the water stuns, like just a DOA player. Let me just give you an example. If Ayane, for example, did her down back punch, and then you went to follow up with back turn forward punch, Ye would block it because the water stun wasn't like it is now. When it went to the console, Itagaki added counter hit properties on water stuns to some lows, This was not in any form of DOA 2 in the arcade. It was only added on the Dreamcast version. The arcade version of DOA 2 Millennium was, I mean, it was perfect to me anyway. I mean, we loved it. It was, you could backdash by holding free, back, and you would move almost like Korean backdashing. It wasn't, you couldn't block out of it. It was there solely for movement. I mean, you could still do like, quarter circle back over and over and over again, but you could still just hold free and there'd be no, no execution barrier. And we actually liked that because we wanted to be able to get away from people anyway. So sometimes, but it had the option to do it. It wasn't scrubby per se. It worked well, and anyone can do it. It was just knowing, because you couldn't block out of it at all, when to do it, right? You know what I mean? Like it was, there's a lot of strategy in that game. The double direction hold was crucial. I was talking with PL the other day, and I said the reason why I didn't like DOA 2U is because DOA 2U is like DOA 2.7. It's not quite DOA 3, but it's not DOA 2. I didn't like it because it wasn't 2. And PL was like, it was made at a time where you were probably the only one that remembers DOA 2. The modern player is more on the single direction hold. The double direction hold probably would have turned them off. The double direction hold was so crucial because it kept the hold in the game without it being spammable. And it required a forcible commitment. And because for like the punches, high, mid, everything high, forward, up, back, mid punches, forward, back, and everything low, forward, down, back, because of the forward command, there were certain pokes and strings that couldn't be held mid-string because you would get hit going to forward in between the first and second hit. So for one, the poking game was better, the pressure game was better, and the stun game was better because you weren't spamming hold. The origin of low holding all the time was what we started doing because as a low hold, we are surrendering the launcher. That was the strategy behind it. It was we realized by doing a low hold, you are immune to the more devastating high counter throws because most of them are going to be your standard high throw. Some of them are low, but a lot of low high counter throws are still going to do juggle damage unless you get like down back throw from Genfu or someone like that where he gets the back turned blow. So we were like, well, we tested it. We were like, the low high counter throws are about what combos, especially combos into a wall or something, going to do. Probably less than that sometimes if a wall's involved. Like the wall would do more. And so you can't be hit by the more devastating high counter throws. You can't have stuns extended by highs and lows, but you can be hit by mids. Most of the mids are take a lot of the stun threshold. And some of them will actually even launch because of how much of the stun threshold they take. So the reality is we're pretty much surrendering the launcher. We're giving you the mid launcher. We're not going to give you the high, more devastating high counter throw. If you try to extend a stun with a high or a low, we will avoid it or hold it. That was the whole strategy behind the low hold. When you remove the double direction hold, the low hold it's ironic how it became a panic. Like even people who don't even know how to play the game are doing low holds. Like it's almost like for some reason they feel like safer by doing it. I have no idea why. But the point of the low hold was the strategy behind it. You could not snap out double direction holds anywhere near as fast as the single direction hold, obviously. And with the punches and kicks being two different holds, even though it's still that way today, you saw significantly less holding, significantly less. People were not. Now, sometimes you have short stuns that people, as soon as they get hit, they're mashing a hold. You'll see somebody get the very first frame they get stunned. What? The hold comes out. Impossible to do that. If you took a modern DOA player and put him on DOA 2 and used the DOA 2 holding system, the holding would be reduced by 80%. Immediately, everything would change. So I don't think modern DOA is the only DOA that I believe was ever made for the single direction hold was DOA 3. And we'll come to that in a second. DOA 2 had the perfect balance of high skill ceiling versus easy to get into, as well as all the other things that make the casual eyes light up. The grab.
Oh, Tom, you still there? Oh, I think his internet might have gone. What a freeze frame, right? Someone take a screenshot real quick.
Check. Did I just lose you? Okay, there we go.
Yeah, it cut out for a second.
Man, bad weather over here, man. Bad
That's
weather.
cool.
Sorry for being on Wi-Fi, but third floor, boys. Before somebody says, "Huh, Wi-Fi," it's my home office. You fighting game players barely even have a home, so I don't want to talk about
Unnecessary.
I mean, it is what it is. I mean, they don't own it, either way. It's my third floor, man. What do you want me to say? I just know how, oh, Tom, why doesn't he upgrade his? Come on, man. FGC, you don't want to come for me, brother, because it ain't going to go well for you. So the Idagaki found the perfect. Developers are still looking for this mix, and they still haven't found it. And DOA 2 was that, which is why DOA 2 was so successful. DOA 2, I remember one of, if not the first ever DOA 2 forum was on fighters.net, ran by Windex, WIND-X, Windex out of Texas. DOA 2, those forums were not that alive. So IRC, places like that are where people would talk. Forums really only started to become big on like Tekken Zaibatsu had just come around from Tekken.net. But overall forums, SRK, I think was big or big-ish. But DOA wasn't really there yet. But it did have a scene. And it started to, when it came out on Dreamcast was great because it was so easy to pirate games with their GD-ROM system. So Dreamcast was the perfect fighting game system because fighting game players could just get all their games for free. Yeah, so it was the perfect system for the FGC. And only because like tournaments, traveling, these kind of things, cost money. So if you can get into the game without having to pay for it, because how easy it was to pirate, great thing for a competitive scene. And tournaments and gatherings were on Dreamcast. Some were on arcade. Like this game was the first game I ever left the country to play. It was DOA 2, and it was starting to grow a scene, And on the before Hardcore came out, we got DOA 2 LE, which apparently is the Japanese DOA 2, and it gives you Bayman and Tengu. Obviously, we banned Tengu. And
Why
I
did
remember
you
I
ban?
drove all the way
Why
to
did you ban Tengu? Why did you ban them?
I drove all the way to North Carolina to get the Japanese version of it. And it's what is known as DOA 2 LE. I remember when
Why was the character banned?
Boss character.
Oh, okay, just overpowered.
Yeah. It just, it was considered a boss character, so we just pretty much back then boss characters were almost always banned. If they were.
Okay.
So Tengu was banned, and the game, it gave you like a few new stages. It gave you the Burai Zen and I believe the Crimson Rooftop. I don't remember off the top of my head. But and we started playing that, and then hardcore came out and we moved to hardcore. One of the great things about DOA at the time, what allowed it to be successful, is as the scene was growing from arcade to a console scene, converters started to come out where you could play on the Dreamcast with, and the big stick over here in the States was the MOS Systems stick, the MOS stick. Mike, I don't know if you want to show a picture, if you want to look up what a MOS System stick looks like. A MOS stick was pretty much if you take an American arcade cabinet platform and cut it in half, it was this massive block that was almost like half of a player side of an arcade cabinet. And that was a very popular stick at the time over here in the States. So when Dreamcast, when DOA 2 originally came out on Dreamcast, you had the Japanese stick called the Goblin. That's what we nicknamed the Dreamcast stick. So
Is
a
it
lot of us either
MAS?
played on huh?
MAS is a Mass Neo arcade stick.
Yeah, MAS. Yeah, MOS Systems. MAS stick. You see the top left? Yep. That is a
Oh, God.
MOS system stick. It's a giant stick that is the size of half of the arcade side. So it's basically take player 1 and player 2, that platform, cut it in half, and you have this giant box. It's about like this thick and about this wide. It's huge. And this is what we played on, a lot of it. Japanese sticks were not up to par like they are today, Mike. But like Mad Cats didn't go through the Markman phase where they rebranded pretty much. So MOS was really big. When this game came out, you had the Goblin stick, so it had an arcade stick option just to start.
Mm-hmm.
And then as we got into like 2LE, LE and things like that, you could have converters where you could play on, if you wanted to play on like a PS1 pad or even a PS2 pad, as hardcore was not out yet for the PS2 was out, but hardcore was not out yet for the PS2. Or at least the PS1 you could play on if you wanted to. Or play on your own stick if you had like a different stick for PlayStation if you wanted to play. Like if you wanted to play on the Namco stick or whatever. So people could kind of play on their own stuff. And then when it came out on PS2, you could play on your PS2 pad. MOS Systems had a PS2 stick, etc. It was at the point where the technology had caught up. Meaning back then it took time for technology to reverse engineer. When a new system came out, you were pretty much stuck on the default hardware. You didn't have 100 million stick options. Maybe you had one. Usually wasn't very good. You couldn't pick and choose whatever kind of pad or play on keyboard. That option wasn't around back then. So obviously we know the more controls are accessible for players to play on, the more players you're going to have because you're accommodating everyone's comfort level. That wasn't a thing back then. It took time. But when DOA 2, 2A2LE, and when DOA 2 Hardcore came out, you could have like converters and different stick options, so on and so forth. So it was very accommodating for the arcade crowd and the console crowd, which just helped the scene grow and grow and grow. And then a meteor hit the DOA scene in the form of the Xbox and Dead or Alive 3. It was a extinction event for the Dead or Alive community. For one, Dead or Alive 3.0 was not very well received because one, some of the us hardcore arcade players didn't like the single direction hold. It was no longer a 4-point hold; it was a 3-point hold, and they were all single directions: up, back, back, and down, back. And even though the game in some ways in 3.0 was equipped to accommodate it. It was not a complete game. It was very incomplete. So we didn't have 3.1 or 3.2 as those versions came out later in Japan and then in the PAL version in the EU version. So we didn't have those versions. So it was an incomplete game. The 3-point hold turned us off. We didn't stick around long enough to understand why that would work, even though I don't think it worked fully in the American version. And then I don't think we didn't have a joystick option, I don't believe. And or if we did, I don't remember it. And it was not very good. And we had to play on the original. Can you look up the original Xbox pad, Mike? A picture of it. The original Xbox original pad. So it was called the Duke. It was
Yeah, the Fat Duke. I've got it here.
oh man. It
Hideous
was
pad.
yeah, show everybody what we had to play on.
It's this thing here.
And I thought the Duke was even bigger.
No, that this is the original one.
Oh, that's the Duke? Oh man,
Yeah.
I'm scarred. That's why I'm scarred. That's how bad it is. Yeah, that's the Duke. It's
Yeah, there's a
terrible
couple of
pad.
revisions, but I think this one on this side is the original one.
The original Duke.
I remember playing on this pad, and I played for 10 minutes, and I said to my friend, I will never touch a fighting game on this console again.
And this is what we had to play. It couldn't survive. Now the S pad that it came out with years later was a phenomenal pad, maybe the best pad ever. I loved that pad. But for me, as an arcade player, I was not a pad player at that point. So I'm like, I don't want to play it. So I ended up getting, the Tekken 4 arcade machine. Well, I had the T4 arcade machines. What year did DOA 3 come out? Let's see.
DOA 3.
When did Tekken 4 come out? November 15th, 01.
DOA 3 came out the 15th of November 2001. And Tekken 4 came out.
Arcade came out August 2001. So just before. So I did have the arcade machine for Tekken 4. And when I got DOA 3, I was like, well, I'm just going to stay with Tekken 4. I am. And keep in mind, I had a lot of high level players that would come and stay with me. And we all played this and they were like, because I had the Tekken 4 machine. So you have to imagine how many people were coming to my house traveling to play for free. We get DOA for the Xbox and we're like I'm talking DOA up. I'm like, oh man, dude, DOA 2 was sick. Like I can't. And then we play it and we're playing on the pad and we're like, immediately just don't want to play. And then the single direction holds and we just didn't like it. And that was the DOA scene was gone. They went to Virtua Fighter 4 or Marvel or Tekken 4 / or Soul Calibur 2.
So the DOA scene was literally destroyed by a controller.
Yes. Controller and an incomplete version of the game. Idagaki has said that he went with the Xbox because it was the most powerful hardware at the time. But Idagaki, again, I'm sure the casuals loved it, but the competitive scene, which makes up the hardcore scene, didn't. So DOA scene was over. It was an extinction event. And that was the end of DOA. Never to be seen again. Forgotten. Gone. And then about 2.5 years in a Tekken 4, maybe even 3 years in a Tekken 4, something happened on one fateful day. Myself and JOP and Jackie Tran and Eddie Pistons were just tired of Sidestep 1-2. We're just tired of the fucking arena. Sidestep 1-2, just tired of it. So we're in Walmart one day. Jop from the bargain bin pulls out Dead or Alive 3. And he says to me, hey, brother, this game is $5.99. Didn't you used to be good at this game? And I was like, oh, not 3. I mean, DOA 2, I was really good. I was a top player at, but I don't really know about 3. And I was explaining to him why. And Job's like, well, none of that exists now. We can play on whatever. We can play on our PS2 pads or whatever. Let's get it. So we bought it and we started playing it. And then we started looking online to see if there's any info on this game, which there was almost none. But then we found the official DOA 3, I believe, launch tournament for DOA 3.1 in Japan. And we saw the guy using the cartwheel against Mochi. And he was using Hayate's cartwheel. And right away, I'm going, I'm like, what game is this? Because, I played it and I'm like, this is not our DOA. And that's when I realized there are other versions of this. Not like DOA 2 to DOA LE, where it was still DOA and you just had like Bayman and Tengu and other stages. This game was a physical, different version. It played different. The moves had different properties. There were moves that we didn't even have. And then I looked up and there was a frame data book. And I'm going through the frame data and I'm going, we don't have some of these moves in this game. And the moves that we do have that are in this is not the frame data. So I'm like, what game is this? Because they actually published frame data in their book. And I'm going, what game is this? So that's when we found out it was the Japanese version. And then we found out there was another more polished version, the European version called 3.2. In which they toned down the tracking of the cartwheel, things like that. And we found this out. And then we found a site called DOA Central. And we're reading this site. And much like the Mortal Kombat scene after MK4 and then MK Deadly Alliance, that scene had no idea about competitive fighting games. We're on the DOA site and they have no idea how to play DOA. Like they don't know how to play. And I'm watching the site owner at that time, Dalzim Morris, upload matches. And he's like, we got some high-level footage of finally 2 non-scrubs. And they were absolutely terrible. Like they had no idea how to play DOA. And I'm like, and I'm not saying that they were terrible players. I mean, it was an extinction event. They were without I'm speaking with 10 with multiple years of DOA knowledge. These people are picking up DOA for the first time, and they're players. I guess they've been playing for a little bit, but without they couldn't have possibly had any competitive scene. So I mean, they were okay for that. They just didn't understand DOA, and they didn't understand tier lists or character tools or things like that, or matchups. They just didn't understand these things. Again, keep in mind, I'm playing always with Evo. The crew I was with was myself, Eddie Pistons, who was a top 8 Evo finalist in 4, Jin Kid, who won Evo in 4, Tran, who won Evo in 4, JOP was a Tekken God in Tag in Tekken 4, and even Tekken 5 Evo finalist. These are players, even at a certain point, even Jin Master, Evo, Evo finalist, etc. Jin Master, who I was able to teach in Tekken, and he picked up DOA. So you're training with high-level fighting game players. And we started to get into DOA 3.0 and learn the game. And I then got a modded Xbox and then got DOA 3.1. I ordered it from Japan. And then we got into 3.1, and then I found out about 3.2, and I was able to get 3.2. So then I was playing 3.2. And
becoming a member, Max Solid.
We were realizing how good this game is, and we were playing it a lot. Eddie Pistons then holds a tournament at TIT, and there were a few Tekken players that were in it, like Hatman from STL. I know all you old school people remember STL Hatman, as well as some local DFW players. People may say, what about Master? What did he do? He wasn't there. Master, we didn't know about Master at that point. I don't know how old Master is, but Master certainly couldn't have been very old in 96 or 98 or 99. I don't know, maybe young teenager, 12 or 13. I'm much older than Master, so maybe 10, 12 years older than Master. So if I'm like 21, Master would be 11. So if I'm 21 when DOA Plus comes out and 22 when DOA 2 Arcade comes out, you're looking at he would be like 12. So obviously couldn't travel, and probably maybe 18, 19, maybe early 20s tops. Not even, no, couldn't have been even early 20s. I don't know how old he is, so, but very young. So he was not, we didn't know about him until 2U online. So we went to Dallas where EP lives, and we were playing like some of the Dallas players, and we played the head of DOA Central, Morris, and he just did it. We were like, there's no information on your site. Like there's no information. So I went so there were some players from New York, Smithy, the Faceless Master, Virtua Pi, etc. Now I'm still learning DOA 3. Like I'm using like a new character like Hayate. It's not like I had played Hayate like I did characters like Ian, Genfu, and Jan Li in DOA 2. So I'm really just putting this together for the first time. The first ever Hayate. The first person to ever put this together. And I went to New York and we played those guys, Smithy, Faceless. And Faceless actually, he beat me. He did have more wins than me. And of course, Faceless, New York talk. Spoiler, when tournaments happen, it didn't end well for Faceless, But I'm competitive. So I said, okay, upgraded my Hayate strategy, went back to New York and beat him, but he tried to make it seem like it was no big deal. It's all right, Faceless, because you're not smart enough to realize, of course, I was going to hold a tournament right next to you just to make sure I beat you there. But
is this guy still active in the fan game
I don't know.
community?
I don't know. I know there's videos up somewhere of us like in tournament. So then some of my videos started coming out on YouTube. And there was a player known as today as Rakuto. Rakuto from upstate New York criticized a lot of my gameplay. His criticism was this guy Tom Brady is doing what I tell you, and I got that name because of DOA actually. So there was a DOA tournament. Well, we'll come to that later. So Rakuto was like, this guy Brady is just doing these 60% guaranteed combos when he could do so much more damage that's not guaranteed by mixing his opponent up with the hold. That was the Rakuto. And I'm like, brother, 60% guarantees a lot of damage, man. Like DOA 3, despite having a 3-point hold, if you play 3.1 or 3.2, the DOA player today doesn't understand this because all they see is, 3-point hold. Oh, where's the Gex? The punishment in DOA 3 was insane. The holds didn't do all that much damage, but the punishment for catching a hold was merciless. DOA 3's wall game was unforgiving. You could not hold off the wall. You could not slow escape off the wall. If you hit the wall, just hand over the controller. You lost, eliminated. It was merciless in DOA 3. The punishment for holding, Bass would do like a back grab on a lightweight and you would hold, and he's going to take almost 100% of your health. The punishment for holding in DOA 3 was massive. So even though it had a 3-point hold, it didn't matter. The hold didn't do all that much damage, but for trying, DOA 3 had some of the least amount of holding you would ever see. Just even though it had the easiest hold system, because of just how high the damage was with the how unforgiving the wall was, and the high counter throws were so unforgiving. It was like, I'll even pick an example. Like let's say you take Hitomi, for example. She didn't have a devastating like open space high counter throw. But Hitomi's wall game, let's say. Hitomi, let's say she counter hits you with, 2P, which is down punch to the regular fighting game player. And it's a counter hit. And at that point, her back forward punch is now a must hold. If you don't hold this shit, you are going into the wall and there's no mercy for you. You're getting launched with 3-3P and your life bar is gone. And the only option you had was either low hold or high hold. A low hold to avoid it or a high hold to hold it. If you did the high hold and she did a high counter throw, you lost like 50% right there with the wall. If she hit you into the wall, you lost 50% if you didn't hold. If you did a low hold and she decided to do like a mid or something and then launch you, or even do a 2-3-6P, a power punch because you're doing a low and it would then launch you, low hold, or it hit you into the wall because you're not doing a mid hold, doing a low, then she would still launch you off the wall and kill you. The punishment was brutal. Brutal. I cannot stress to you how brutal the punishment was in DOA 3, which is what made the hold system work. So it's the only game I think that really was built for the single direction hold was DOA 3. And I think the 3-point hold was right for DOA 3 because of how brutal the punishment was compared to the hold damage. And it was a very good game, but we just couldn't circulate it, right? So the DOA scene, like I'm traveling around, but you're getting 5 and 6 people to show up. Rakudo, who was then talking to me at that point, going on about Tom Brady and this guaranteed damage and blah, blah, blah. I said, hey, man, I don't think you understand the game. I said, Rakudo, I'm going to pay for you to, I think, take a flight, maybe, I believe it was, from upstate New York into New York City. And I want you to meet with some of the New York guys. And he did. And they held a 5-man tournament to which Rakudo got 5th. Absolutely massacred. But Rakudo learned, okay, now I understand. And that started him on his journey to where he is now. Rakudo now is one of the most efficient, technically sound defensive players you will ever see. I love seeing how good Rakudo is from day one Rakudo. Most people don't have the dedication to have that happen to them and go back home. They'll say, oh, well, fuck it, I'm done. Rakudo Omega leveled up and became the player that we all know today, which is why I'm such a huge fan of and a huge supporter of Rakudo. When I got the name Tom Brady from a tournament in Texas that I won where PL first came, PL endured a 10-hour bus ride along with Demon, the Champ, etc., some other Ohio locals. EP put me in the bracket as Tom Brady because I was a Peyton Manning fan and we were having arguments. And EP says, how can you possibly be a clutch player who wins tournaments and be a Peyton Manning fan? Tom Brady is a proven winner. And he put me in the bracket as Tom Brady. And I had a bunch of jerseys I brought with me. And I was wearing a Tom Brady jersey that day. And the name Tom Brady stuck. The videos that went out of me were Tom Brady versus whoever. And I was known as Tom Brady. And no matter what I have changed my name to try to get around it, it always stuck.
Yeah, most people don't. Sometimes when we call you Bill, they get confused at who we're talking about. People genuinely believe that your name is Tom Brady. I believed that your name was Tom Brady until I started talking to you.
Yeah, that's how it is. That's how I got the name. And I was traveling around. Big E allowed us to do the tournament where I had the picture with Final Showdown. Was NEC. Was it NEC 5? NEC 5. And it was like a 10-man DOA tournament. To which Faceless, who was like, oh, yeah, I was just taking it easy. In DOA 3, mopped him up in DOA 2U. In fact, my footage against Smithy, why I was losing games, is because Smithy said, look, man, he made a bet with me that I couldn't beat him with every character in the game. So Smithy thought he might have a chance to win in grand finals if because I couldn't switch characters unless I lost. So I had to win the first game, then lose so I can switch characters legally. And I still beat him. He didn't reset the bracket. So
Yeah.
I would beat him, lose the next game, switch characters, win that game, lose the next game, switch, etc. And it was the only way I could switch. We were very far ahead of the rest of the DOA community at that time. It was we were and I, the DOA gatherings were very small. You know, I was traveling around, but DOA just wasn't getting off the ground. It's so hard because you're circulating. So DOA 3.1 and 3.2 became circulated because PL, when he messaged me originally, he said, "Hey man, I know I don't." He knew about me from the forums. He said, "Hey, I know I can be great. I don't have anyone to play. I just need people to play with, that I can train and whatever." And PL actually said, "Hey man, I know how to soft mod the Xbox and I can circulate 3.3.2." So he showed people how to soft mod their Xbox and help people get access to DOA 3.2. And it's because of PL that so many people were able to access the game. And obviously, we know he was right. He believed in himself, and he obviously had the ability to be one of the best players in the world, as we know, multiple-time Evo champion, three-time Evo champion PL, the great Perfect Legend. And
How old
he
was he around this time when he was able to
16,
do that?
I believe 16,
Yeah.
dedicated, and help people get the game. Without PL, 3.2 is not played by very many people. 3.1, 2.2. So PL helped circulate the game. And this was during DOA 2U. See, in DOA 2U, I was the first ever SS rank in DOA 2U. And what was so annoying? It was so annoying for me being who I was because I made my game retain MK Tom Brady or Tom Brady. Spoiler, never do that when you're a known name because people are going to farm you. Like if you lose a single game, which I found out back, and then I thought, yeah, everyone's going to be cool. I want to play some games, have some GGs. Nope, not the way it works. Welcome to the internet, Bill. Welcome to the internet. So I'm
I've
playing
been
on
there.
because I'm playing online, and God, if I even lose a single game. I remember I was playing this guy, Azuna Otoshi from Michigan, Ryujin's friend, and he's playing Hayabusa. So I'm saying, okay, I'll mirror this guy. Now, Hayabusa was not my character. I'm not a very good Hayabusa player.
Mm-hmm.
And he beats me by a few games, right? I think he beat me like maybe 5-3. I was just playing to play. He had one of those imaginary first to fives to you, but not. You know how it is. It's
Yeah.
only a first to the five to the guy that got five first.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Nobody else but them knows. He beats me like 5-3. I didn't think anything of it. He leaves, and I'm like, oh, that guy was pretty good, right? Then he's on the forums like, yeah, can you imagine? Nervous. So this guy is sitting in his living room. Whoa! I got Tom Brady right here. And I'm like, hey, man, I'm playing an okay player. This is Zuna Toshi guy. I'll just play him with his own character and pretty much go game for game. And this guy's at home thinking he won the Super Bowl, And they're on the forums like, this guy, Tom Brady. And then there was the biggest piece of trash walking God's green earth. Give me them shoes on the SRK forums. I'm online playing bass for fun. The connection wasn't that great. It wasn't rollback netcode. And he beats me like 5 games in a rotation. He goes on SRK, this fraud, slap, give me them shoes, bitch. Slap, give me them shoes, bitch. And then I caught him under another name in a room with Swoozy, first time I ever met Swoozy, and beat this dude 20 straight games, like a piece of garbage. I would lose to somebody like 1 or 2 games, and they would avoid me, leave rooms if I caught them. So I would have to make another Xbox Live, which means I had to pay for that because you couldn't just make infinite names. I had to have
Yeah.
another one. And in fact, it was so obvious. My name was Tamanobu Itagaki, and Tom was all caps. TOM, right?
Mm.
It's the most obvious troll name, and nobody knew it was me.
You
And I would
basically put on the glasses like Superman. No one noticed.
no one knew. Like Henry Cavill, when he tried that experiment, and he goes, how real is Superman's costume? So he went in Times Square, had the glasses on, stood in front of the Superman thing with him in it, had the Superman shirt on, and nobody recognized him.
Yeah,
And he
that I
was
saw
like,
that. That was insane. It actually works.
proving people only see what they want to believe. That is Superman. And I would catch people, and they would be on the forums talking trash, and I would catch them, and I would go in. I'm like, hey man, what do you think of that guy Tom Brady? They're like, man, that guy's garbage, man. It's the guy I just mollywopped 100 times, and he's like, garbage, garbage player, beat him easily. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think that guy's very good either. They're like, man, no, man, he's not like your level, and it's actually me. Like, it's so stupid how that is. Uh,
Typical
but on the
behavior.
forums, it's like,
Nothing's
Tom,
changed.
nothing. And Master still wasn't around, unknown yet, even in early DOA 2U. That's when I would play Just Onin. Like, I love the Just Onin because I played him one time in a lobby, beat him the first game. First thing he said, Tom Brady, do you want to go to a private room? Absolutely. People like that I respect. People like that I've had a nice long session with Just Onin, respected him. It was like, hey man, good shit. Solid players, both GGs. It was awesome to play some of these guys that I couldn't play in like DOA 3, and players that I could obviously never got to play in DOA 2 because they didn't play 2. They were new into 2U. I was the first ever rank 1 player in DOA 2, and I never lost that rank until the hackers came in and got 100 million points in DOA 2U, and then I just didn't even care anymore because then it didn't matter. Points it didn't matter. Hackers all had the whole leaderboards. I was the first ever SS in DOA 2U. But I liked it at first, but I really was in love with DOA 3.1 because to me, it was a new game. You know what I'm saying, Mike? It was, I had played DOA 2, and this was not even my DOA 2 that I loved. It was like an off version of DOA 2, a poor man's DOA 2 to me. And DOA 3.1 to 3.2 were new games to me because I'm like, I had never seen this before. So I wanted to play that. I didn't want to play 2U. And I'm like, well, this sucks. Like, how can I play it's just 2U game when I know this superior game over here exists? And then that's when I ran into PL, and he started circulating the game, and more people could have it, and more people could play it. And then, people would start coming to my house to play. Like, there was, what's his name? What's Blue Boy and his friend came over. Then there was Sorwa and Dragon House started driving down, and then I started driving up to play them. Virtua Pi would come over every once in a while. He would take the train from New York to come down and play. And slowly but surely, the DOA scene was, you know what I mean? It was starting up. Wait, hold on one second, Mike. I have no idea what this is.
Yeah, no problem. Whilst Tom has gone back, I know you guys are probably looking at me going, is this guy falling asleep again? I am falling asleep. I did not sleep a wink last night. I kind of did it to myself because when we came off stream yesterday, I went and played Pokemon for a bit. I couldn't sleep, so I apologize. But I was reading some of your comments earlier about the costumes, just to go back to that topic. Alex, thank you for the Alexander, thank you for the $1, bro. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, no, someone was saying Soul Calibur gets a pass, but not DOA. DOA gets a pass. I like DOA. That's why this whole week has been dedicated to DOA content and streams. I ain't got no problem with DOA. I ain't got no problem with the community, even though some of them told me to eat shit and die. I ain't got no problem with no one. DOA gets a pass, fine by me. But don't say Soul Calibur gets a pass, but not DOA. In terms of gooning content or whatever you want to call it, fan service, it is not on the same level. Let's not be silly now. Okay? They're not even close. Let's not go down this road of lying. Fire Red, yeah, I'm playing Fire Red. I'm gonna get Brilliant Diamond or Shining Diamond, whatever it's called, and play that next. I'm fully back into Pokemon. Absolutely loving it, enjoying myself. And I'll probably, I think I'm gonna actually get into it properly and do the EV and IV training. Soul Calibur before Ivy's outfit. Yeah, everybody points to Ivy, but Ivy's one character, and you could argue Taki as well, but it's not abundant in Soul Calibur. it's I would say it's more scarce. You could do some crazy shit of customization, but it's not DOA levels. It's not even close. I play no, I don't play Voldo, you waste man. Very well documented what character I play on Soul Calibur.
All right. So the main problem I was having in DOA 2U, so the Xbox, the original Xbox, you could just have a Xbox lobby, a chat lobby. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of like party chat today. You could just have a party chat. And it was tough for me to make the DOA players understand how important the importance of Master. How can I forget about? So DOA Master, I ran into Master in DOA 2U. I was obviously I knew he was. No, I didn't run into him online in DOA 2U. I knew who Master was. I don't think I played him. And then because this is before PL, so I completely missed a part of history. So before PL contacted me and circulated DOA 3, I stopped playing 2U because, again, all my friends are all Tekken players. Tekken 5 was out on the console, and I 2U was, I just didn't see 2U picking up as a tournament game. Nobody was taking the mantle to make it a tournament game, right? It was just going to be an online casual game. And you're just dealing with all the dumb online stuff, like, hey, you're playing in a lobby, all the shit that we have today. And like, nobody wanted to go into private rooms for the most part. And you're playing people and they're like, I'm sitting there and they're listening to these clowns and they're like, oh yeah, you beat my character, I beat you at Ayana. You don't get to queen no more until next year. And I'm like, I can't play with these clowns, man. So I
Nothing's
ended up
changed.
going. So my friends were all Tekken players. They who were instrumental in helping me learn Dead or Alive. And I put out a ton of guides, you know, um, for the DOA 3.1 stuff, but couldn't be circulated. Nobody really cared on the forums. Everything was DOA 2U because you could play it online, etc. So to me, it was always a poor man's DOA 2. DOA 2U, well, while many people who got into it at that time loved DOA 2U, that's how I feel about DOA 2. It just was, it's not the same. It's not DOA 2. So, and of course the DOA community could never understand because they're stupid. They're fighting game players. No, they're young. Young people don't give a fuck what old people think. And because they didn't play DOA 2, they weren't part of my era. They could never understand why I didn't like it, but you have to understand, my coming from DOA 2 to 2U, it is different. So I just didn't like it. And there was no way to play 3.1. So I started playing like Tekken 5 casually with friends. Didn't really like T5 that much, to be honest with you. But, I was visiting Dallas for like a month that summer. And then I go to a place called Pepsi Tony, which was kind of the hub of the DFW area. And that's when I met for the first time Master. And I was there to play Tekken Casuals. And I go there and Morris is there and he introduces me to Manny. And he said, do you want to play some DOA 2? And I was like, no. In fact, I haven't played DOA 2 in years. So, I mean, not years. I mean, I haven't played DOA 2. Sorry, I was putting my text here. I hadn't played DOA 2 in like the last 2-3 months. Like I'm playing all Tekken right now. And he's like, no, it'll be good just to have some casuals. This guy is like the top guy right now. I said, oh, all right, I'll play him, whatever. He beat me. I'm way out of practice. And I turn around and I see Morris with the camera from the Goonies trying to record as much video as possible on this massive camera. And I'm like, Morris, what are you doing? Hey, man, I just had to record the champ losing to the new champ. And I'm like, Morris, what champ? I'm no champion right now. Like I have not competed in DOA in forever. What champ am I? I'm like, I don't care if Master's the best player. Like I don't know who the top whatever right now are on DOA 2U. But he put it out there and put it online as Master beating the DOA champion and blah, blah, blah. So fucking stupid because, I had left. So he needed someone to take up the mantle, So here's Manny, but still nothing offline was happening. And while Master was doing his, I am your master, was doing that whole thing, is when PL contacted me, got me back into DOA because he was able to circulate 3.2, and then I started playing again. I didn't really play DOA 2U. I started going on DOA 2U to gather the greater DOA community, the top players, Black Mamba, Offbeat Ninja, Just Onin, Lopido, DOA Master, and like, hey, we need to take this game offline. We need to take DOA offline. And I said, I don't know that DOA 2U is enough to do it, but DOA 3 certainly is. And it's circulated now, PL, whatever, and everyone got it. And of course, the community was resistant. Oh, there's Brady preaching about offline play. Idiot. that was, I had to deal with a lot of that. But eventually, we got people offline. Eventually, we finally did. At a tournament called, no, that's when NEC happened. We got them offline, and
Tom,
we
could I
had
just ask, why was there so much pushback against going offline when back in those days almost all the fighting games were played offline?
They were just online players. They got into the game online. They did. It's opposite. Unlike me, that came from that scene. I'm trying to tell people who never knew that scene existed, and thought and like had who cares about that? I'm playing online. That's the future. Blah blah blah. Well, we know it wasn't the future then because there was no roadblock. The netcode was shit. So to me, who was an offline player, I'm like, this netcode is shit. I don't want to play on this garbage. But and then of course we had like matches with like Offbeat Ninja versus Master. There was there was a big first to 10 where Offbeat beat him like 10-8 or something like that. And myself and Master, started meeting up offline and became friends. And PL, we were all friends originally. We were all friends. They say money ruins friendships. Ain't that the truth?
I'm assuming there was a big falling out from this then.
DOA 4, money. What do you think? But we were all friends. All friends. And then we held a tournament called V Time, in which I think I flew Master out. And I was for DOA 3 and 2U. Master won that one over PL. Myself and Master set from that tournament was probably one of the best DOA sets ever. Bass versus, I went with Bass instead of Hayate. I regret now not using Hayate. What a canon match that would have been, Hayate against Hayabusa. Like, I regret it. But so Master, I actually replayed in my moment. If next time I play Master in tournament, I know exactly what I'm going to do to finish the match because I knew exactly what his response would be. So then we held another tournament called DID in Dallas, and it was, I think it was at the SMU campus. Again, I fly in there. Again, Demon is there, Just Onin is there, and the DOA community was like a buzz at this. And like people are like posting updates on the forums, like, oh, so and so was beaten, Just Onin beat so and so is eliminated, and the DOA community was actually buzzed about this offline tournament. And it was kind of like, back in the old days of Tekken Zaibatsu, the so and so tournament live updates or aftermath, and the live updates are going on. So DOA 3 was the main event. And the corruption of Morris is immediately seen. Morris is a lot like Vince McMahon, like very much like
Who's Morris?
the head of DOA Central.
Oh, okay.
So what happens is DOA 3 starts. Right after DOA 2 is over. I believe Master won that one. And then there's DOA 3, and we were running it smoothly up until I put Master in losers. Now, keep in mind, this is hours going by. I think I haven't eaten in like 6-7 hours. I'm dying. I have no transportation there. You couldn't have Uber. There was no Uber like the old days, no Uber Eats, right? You're looking at like early 2000s, 2005, whatever year it was, right?
Mhm.
And I'm dying. I mean, I'm dying. Like Morris then says, you know what? I was okay at this point. I was still surviving. I was okay. I was hype. I was ready to end this. Morris says, let's pause DOA 3 to hold a DOA 2U tag tournament, which took 2.5 hours. I
That's
took a nap.
ridiculous.
I was sleeping. I couldn't get out of there. Like I'm talking to PL on the phone. I'm like, I'm dying. They wake me up for, hey, we're going to do DOA 3 top 3 now. Just Owen pulls out these pills called Focus Factor, right? And he puts the Focus Factor on the table so that Master and everyone can know he took his Focus Factor and he's focused. Just Owen goes up 1-0 and he's taking the pills. He's, got the pills, hitting the table. Goes up 2-0 on Master. Take it. And Just Owen played Hitomi, which got massacred by Bass. And I'm like, I'm not feeling it. I'm like, please God, let Just Owen win one more match. And just give me an easy grand final so I can get the fuck out of here. He loses 3 straight to Master. I don't even recall much of the 2 sets he beat me. I was like, I didn't make any excuses. I lost, shook his hand, said good games, never made an excuse about it. The only person who ever knew how I felt were like PL, Jop, etc., my personal friends. I'm like, man, Morris is always like Vince McMahon at that point, and this would come in a DOA 4, doing whatever he could to stack the deck in his guy's favor.
Mhm.
It was just so fucking stupid. Either way, I got second. Master won. I'm still one of the top players, period. It didn't matter. Shook his hand. Master was a great player. I didn't begrudge him. I had no problem with Master. It's not Master's decision, right? He doesn't, whatever. I had no problem with Master. He was a great player. I had no problem losing to him. An amazing player. Loved playing all the players that were there. At that tournament, the casuals. There had not been this collection of DOA players were all at Master's house in like 5 or 6 since DOA died off at the end of DOA 2. So many
So this
people
is
traveled.
the resurgence then.
Yeah, it was a resurgence, absolutely. And then here comes DOA 4. And the DOA community is going full steam ahead, man. It's going full steam ahead. And we're finally starting to get some recognition. When DOA 4 comes out, so DOA died because of, or the first time around from 2 to 3, because of limitations in technology, right? You couldn't update the game you had. So they released 2 other versions in other parts of the world, and you were bound to that controller. So it was just too much to overcome. An incomplete game and a terrible, terrible way to play, and you couldn't pick what you wanted to play on. There was no way to the scene was doomed to like be put in the earth.
Mhm.
Here comes DOA 4 on probably the second worst pad to ever exist, the Xbox One pad. It was so bad, we used to have a term where you would just randomly jump because you were trying to go forward. It's called high level jump. That's what we used to call it. It was terrible. You couldn't
Yeah, that
move.
pad was built for shooting games.
It was so bad. And that was my whatever on it. You had the original. You had a stick. You had a DOA stick that came with the game, and it took some time for technology to catch up to be able to play on converters, whatever pad you wanted to play on. It took some time, and so originally, it comes out, and there was a lot of buzz on it. The net code, still by modern standards, garbage, as all net codes were at that point in time, garbage by modern standards. And the scene is growing, though. It's growing very much. And Tragic gets involved. He started DOAlive.com, kind of another site, you know, that was supposed to be a little more competitive than DOA Central. And DOA is having tournaments. It's being held at ECC. It's being held at NEC. So DOA has now got a seat at the table, and it was announced to be at Evo. Matter of fact, it was at the first Evo where there was sponsorship and guaranteed payout. So it was $5,000 paid out between the whole top 8. So it was the first ever guaranteed money that Evo ever offered. It was at that first Evo that was sponsored by Toyota. So a lot of people started getting into it because the theory was DOA players are not good. There's going to be nobody's going to show up. So even maybe I could get like 8th place and sneak into some money, right? That was so Justin Wong started playing it, so on and so forth. Spoiler, obviously, that never happens. It never works out that way. Obviously, all the hardcore DOA players were the ones in the top. But the scene is growing very well. Me personally, I'm struggling. I mean, let me just speak on me personally. I'm struggling bad. And look, I want to give a shout out to PL as a real friend. PL was always by my side. I helped him come up, and then he didn't leave me behind once he was up. He knew what I was capable of. He never left me behind, always trained with me, understood like I was just always going to be like at 50% because I just couldn't fucking move. I can't tell you how many tournaments I would stun somebody and I'm trying to do Genfu's this move, the move I'm famous for, 3P plus K, and I'm getting down, back, every direction but down forward because I just can't do it. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I cannot play this game. Like, it was so bad that there was a guy, Ben Heck. I don't know if you know who Ben Heck was, who was a big tech guy for like Microsoft. I said, hey, brother, I called him. I said, brother, I can't play. I'm willing to pay you if you can find a way to have me to convert an Xbox S pad from the original Xbox to work on 360. And he said, yeah, it's not going to happen. Technology is not there to reverse engineer it yet. So couldn't happen. I was struggling pretty bad. PL, to help players, found a way to mod the pad in which you would take a Dremel tool to Dremel out the circle to give the pad a little more breathing room. And then you would open your pad and replace the rubber piece with the rubber piece from the S pad from the original Xbox. And this is what people were doing to be able to compete on that pad. And even still with me, it was just, I just couldn't fucking move. It was so hard. So me personally, I didn't enjoy 4 that much because I just couldn't move. And the DOA community, of course, would take the piss, the joke was how garbage I was. Even when I got top 8 at Evo, I still had I couldn't muster the great. Look, I'm as clutch as they come, brother. So in those moments, I can deliver. It was like, how is this guy in the top 8? How is this garbage player top 8 at Evo? Like that was the new community's like response, and that a lot of that came from. Well, we're going to talk about the master stuff later. But it was just really hard for me. But the community was kind of moving full speed ahead. It really was. And then we got a seat at the table. We got Evo. And it was a great tournament. Had a great final between PL and Master in a canon match, Hayabusa versus Hayate. And when PL won, I ran up and I hugged him. It was his first Evo title ever. I couldn't be more happy for a guy who was a friend of mine, a true brother, who PL, I think Master had become sponsored at this point. PL wasn't, what a friend PL was? His first conversation with Jason, like of Complexity, PL, instead of selling himself, was selling me to try to get me sponsored by somebody. Like, what a friend. So for all those who act like PL is this miserable person, the good people you think are good would sell you down the fucking river. You know, and this was a real friend, like really like. And Jason Lake, I remember, told him, "Well, you got to sell me on yourself first, man. What are you selling me on your friend for?" But PL stuck with me, worked with me, regardless of how handicapped I was, and probably how annoying it had to be for PL to play me at a diminished capacity. And I was a defensive player, so it's very difficult for me to like play when I can't move, can't whatever. But he stuck it out. And because of that, I was able to make Evo top 8. We trained hard. So he was very happy for me making top 8. And
You can tell that PL's a very happy, and he comes across as like very kind and generous to me. I know people try to like boil him down to that one incident, but obviously he's a lot more than that. So I can tell, and like I've never met him in person, but he's always been very kind to me.
yeah, very, very good guy. And I mean, people say, well, he sounds bitter. Well, you guys treat him like shit. I would be mad too if I was PL. Uh, but and it was tough for me because the DOA community was not trying to hear it. Oh, Tom, blah, blah, wash, blah, blah. And even though I'm top 8 at Evo now, the communities was like, well, he's not online beating anybody. Went back to that. I got top 8 at Evo and Master. I was so happy that I was top 8 at Evo. And Master sends me a picture of a trash can. Like, and I'm like, and Master is part of the hey, Tom's not good. Like, you know how hard that was for me? Like, I was down in the dumps, and it just myself and Master, there was a lot of Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels there. Put it
Mhm.
that way. Um, and PL, just I can't speak enough for like how he stood by my side and helped me to do that. And then there were other tournaments like I remember I went to there was a tournament called V Time that we also did. No, then there was DID 1. DID 1 was a DOA only major. Again, we became a staple in the DOA community, and it wasn't piggybacking off other tournaments like in NEC or something like that. DOA became big enough, the scene became big enough to hold its own standalone majors, where DOA was the main event and it didn't need to piggyback on the attraction of other games. And Mochi from Japan came in, and it was actually a Offbeat Ninja came from Canada. Like there, I think so many people were there. The great rest in peace Ninja CW. We love you, man. Gone way too soon. So one of the best human beings, just an amazing human being. A real loss for us all. He was there, and I
Is this
remember,
is this before Hoodless's time?
yes, before all of them.
Okay, because
And
Hoodless is currently the best player in the world, right?
I watch Hoodless. I love watching Hoodless. I think Rakudo might. I don't remember. Trying to think if this is before the first CGS. I don't remember the time. I don't remember when the first CGS was or CGI was. I don't remember. I don't think I was sponsored yet, so I think it was the CGS stuff. I'll cover later. Vanessa was there. So many people were there at this tournament, and I remember I got put in losers first round, and Master was saying something to me. I was like, I don't like playing this game because of this pad. I was like, I can easily get in top 5. So Master bet me tacos from Mama Master that if I were to, because I don't know why we were talking about like who has the best tacos. I said I had a Mexican restaurant in Virginia that I swore had the best tacos on earth. And Master liked somewhere else, but then he was like, the best tacos are actually Mama Master. And I was like, well, then I need to, So that was just like a fun little. And so I went all the way from losers. I made top 5. I beat Ninja CW. And then, ironically, the next match was me versus Master, which people hadn't seen in quite a while, and it was actually a close match. He did beat me. Actually, it was 2 beat me 2-1. It was in the last match. But the community loved those matches. Me versus Master, Master versus PL, Offbeat, Mamba, right? The personalities, the big personalities, you know what I mean? All playing each other, right? PL, Mamba, like these rivalries were huge. And Offbeat won, PL got second. We all went out. We were like a family. We all went out. We had drinks. We had a good time. We were a real family. And
Just a question, because you guys were all close and you were going out and playing the game. Did you guys like do a lot of what the Tekken guys do, though, where like you're taking the piss at each other when you're playing and just having a laugh?
yes.
I'm just asking because of the whole pork chop situation online where people saw
Oh yeah,
him.
it was all in fun. It was all in fun. It was all in
Yeah.
fun. Yeah. But we were a family. Like we weren't at each other's throats. We were a family. Like we
Hmm.
really were. Um and then I did a tournament called V Time, which was another tournament where DOA was the main event. And so many people came there. That's when Rabies first showed up, Chosen One. I remember Hatred. This is when the DOA community learned a clear lesson, because the DOA community was still like, Tom's not good. Tom's not good. He's not good. So there was a player, Shade Swift Eye, who was beating me all the time in Virginia. They used to joke around, oh, Tom's weakness is he's too safe. And if you're unsafe, I didn't like how DOA 4 toned down the punishment, right? So I felt like people could get away with more. My main problem was the pad. But I just took my beatings all the time. And the DOA community couldn't understand, part of the main reason why I got the name Tom Brady, how I could be so bad in casuals and then miraculously, why is he in the top, of tournaments? So like it's I was a master of compartmentalizing. I don't need to beat you here. I just need to beat you 2 games here. Like, so I just needed to put a strategy together for these 2 games. And there were players, I believe actually I placed over a Rakudo, Hatrify, who used to joke about how bad he beat me online. Beat him in that tournament. I actually tied with Shade Swift Eye, and I'm like, hey, Shade, you always say you're better than me. We got the same place, mate. What are you talking about? But once again, the match to be eliminate me was me versus Master. And it was hype, and it was another like close game. Close set, and he beat me. And like the top was like PL 1, Master 2nd, Offbeat Ninja 3rd. I forget who was 4th, and like me and Shade Swift Eye were 5th. Or maybe
Can
Swift Eye was 4th and me and Ryujin tied for 5th, I think. Somewhere in
I
there.
just ask you a question? You know, like
Yeah.
you and Master sound like you have a long-standing rivalry on DOA. If DOA 7 comes out and it's to everyone's liking, would you ever run like a first attempt with him?
I've got to come because it's very much Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. When Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels happened, how likely was a Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels anything going to happen? So it's very much like that. So we'll come to that. 0. But DOA is really picking up. And I had, for everyone that came, everyone stayed at my house. We had like 50 people. Most of them staying at my house. Like 20 people were staying with me. Like it was crazy. And I had Master came in a few days before. So it's just me, Master. We're going out to the bar. We're hanging out. We're talking DOA. I had a DOA 2 Millennium arcade machine in my house that while people were waiting for setups, all the people are playing DOA 2 Millennium. Like it was such an amazing time for DOA. And we were all playing DOA. We had setups all over the house. Millennium was being played. 4 was being played. Like it was the DOA dreamland. Tournament was over. And then money got involved. and everything changed.
When you say money got involved, what was the issue?
One person didn't realize that there was plenty of room in it for all of us. But they were doing this. My chips, my everything, my opportunity. Not realizing that it's not entertaining to watch one guy say, I am your master. You need those. You need the PLs, Rabies, myself, Mamba, Offbeat, Just Owning. You need those personalities. You need Rakudo. You need those personalities. You need those things. You need them. You need them. So what happens is CGS comes, or CGI. I'm not going to give I don't know the timelines between which tournaments I'm talking about in CGI, but what happened was the first ever CGI, we didn't know about it until the last second when it was announced that it was going to be Master, Callie Jared, I believe, Swoozy, Kasumi Chan, Mystic, and maybe one other girl for $10,000. And we're like, what is this?
I remember this. You spoke about this last time, that the one
Yeah.
where the guy was standing behind Master, or the girl or something.
Yeah, more so. Exactly. And I know Swoozy was like, well, they were trying to use the GM, whatever, but Master already had a GM. He already had a sponsor. It was Jax, but it wasn't Jax standing behind him. It was Morris standing behind Master. And Master, you saw the clip. He does this to Morris on the finals. Hey, it's so easy. You try for $10,000. And Swoozy expects us to believe that they scoured the internet, but somehow couldn't. Now, I had the most DOA content out. They just couldn't find any of us. The truth is, they didn't know who to look for them, so they found DOA Central, and Morris gave them the recommendation. Because how could you scour the internet and not find the biggest faces who have the most content? Impossible. So we all know the truth. Even still, we didn't it was not a big deal. We were like, okay, we were at first excited because we realized more opportunities were coming. And Morris did hey man, NDA, couldn't say anything, but he recommended because it was handpicked for his guy to win. Again, we still didn't look at it like a master thing. It was like, Morris, what are you doing? Why wouldn't you, on that show, why wouldn't you want to have, they're like, well, they wanted 3 guys and 3 girls. Okay. But why didn't you have like some of the more entertaining faces, top players, Offbeat, PL, Just Owning, Mamba, maybe 2 of those people, right? No, it was that. So we were like, what are you doing? This is where you want those storylines being told for the audience. This was televised on DirecTV. And then CGI 2 happened. They did it again. And this time they brought in PL and Offbeat. We know what happened with PL as far as like Mike Leroy Jethro Gibbs from NCIS. No such thing as coincidences. That's a big coincidence that happened, right? And then they weren't even apologetic to him, right? They handled it wrong, but it was seen as like bad PL. So PL's like, I don't want to compete in CGS season 1. So we didn't even go to the combine. And the combine happened, and people got drafted, but so many personalities were left out. My Master was very vocal in how bad I was, how garbage keep on. I'm an top 8 at Evo, top at DID, top at no, it was not VTM, it was DOA Tech. That's what we called it, DOA Tech. So I'm top at the last several DOA majors. So I'm getting a little better on the pad, right? Like I'm getting used to it. PL helped me with the Dremel tool, whatever. So I'm not a top 3 guy, but I am a top guy again. Just constantly being left out of everything. Now, keep in mind, people always say to me, Tom, when you speak, people listen. The stories you tell, the history you know. In what mind would you say, leave this guy out of television? And
Have
keep in
you
mind,
have you spoken to Master at all? Because when
no,
I'm
we no
when I
longer
had
speak.
him when I
We no
had him
longer
on
speak.
here, he said that he gave like he didn't tell me what happened. He didn't really want to go into it, but he said that the events didn't play out like that. I thought it'd be interesting to
Well,
see
look,
you guys
I
like
can admit what
actually
happened. Let
talk.
me tell you what happened with myself and Master. I was angry. I was angry. Um, so before we get to that part, at DID 1, we were all playing. And of course, at that point, we all know it was the mighty Vanessa. Who no girl can touch the mighty Vanessa. I didn't think anything of it. I just said it's because no one's actually trying to help these girls learn the game. They're teaching them, but you know what that means. Hey, I'm just trying to, get familiar with them, hang out with them online, whatever. But it was 3 o'clock in the morning. We're all still up playing DOA. Me, PL, Ninja CW. And here's a girl, Phoenix, who's staying up to 5 in the morning grinding with us. And I'm like, she's not trying to be anything other than a top player. Like the desire was there, which you don't often see at that time in girls. Not saying it doesn't exist, but for multiple reasons, they don't get sessions enough. They don't, at least at that point in video games, like girls were not taking us seriously wrongfully as they are today. Because, in my opinion, girls could be amazing players,
Mhm.
just as amazing as anybody else. But I was noticing how just she had that desire and she didn't get drafted season 1 and she wanted to get drafted really bad. So what happened was at that tournament, Ninja CW wanted to get drafted. I said, "Hey man, you're going to put Hitomi down. You're going to move in with me for a little bit and I'm going to teach you Genfu." That Genfu is a character created by me back in Dio, not created, it was Idagaki, but I was the first Genfu. We all know Genfu is a defensive character. Who do you think is going to be like the Genfu guy? PL, then that legacy passed on to PL, and then we passed that legacy down to Ninja CW. And when he's living with me, I said, "Hey man, what do you think about Michelle, man?" Because they were close friends with Phoenix, and he goes, "She really wants it." I said, "Do you really think like she has the discipline to like go through the grind of being a top player to get drafted, or would she just like tap out if she really like was getting trained?" He goes, "No, she wants it." So I said, "Call Michelle." So we called her because she was being trained by another player. He was just trying to date her, and he wasn't even a good player anyway, or top player. And I said, "Look, I got Ninja CW staying with me. I'm willing to let you move in with me for a couple months." I said, "No boundary will ever be crossed." She was, I think, 18 or 19, and I'm like 20, 28.
Mhm.
I'm like, "No boundary will ever be crossed. I got a 4-bedroom house. You'll have your own room, your own bathroom, and I will only be professional." I said, "But I will be harder on you than anyone I've ever been hard on." Said, "You will get treated more harshly, meaning I will not give you any special treatment, and you will be expected to do no different and train no harder than anyone else that has ever come here." And I said, "It will not be easy. You won't like me. You'll hate me, but you'll get drafted." So she said, "Okay." And you can ask PL. I was ruthless on her. First thing I did was, and I said, "I will teach this girl to beat Vanessa." First thing I did was teach her to reprogram all her habits. I said, "Your your unconscious muscle memory has professionals practice, amateurs practice till they get it right. Professionals practice till they can't get it wrong." So I'm like, when you're on stage, you're going to revert back to your unconscious habits. So you have to have new unconscious habits. I mean, I would wake this girl up at 3 o'clock in the morning and say, "Do those drills the way I taught you because it has to be muscle memory with no thought." I gave her drills to do because it has to be muscle memory. The point of drills until you're unconscious and not thinking is that you can do it without thinking. And even if you're thinking about what am I going to eat tomorrow, right? Or whatever, you're still doing what, you know what I mean? That's how you have to get. So that on stage, when it's just you and you have that isolated feeling, it's baked in. There was one time when I gave her these drills and I went out on a date, and PL was monitoring her gamer tag, and it went offline because she thought I was gone for the night, which I was. PL called me and said, "Hey, man, I'm on the date." He goes, "Michelle just signed off. She's not training." I said, "Really? Thank you." Told the date, "Listen, I'm terribly sorry. We probably won't see each other again. I have another commitment I have to go to." Left the date, left her there, paid for whatever drinks, whatever. Went home and I was like, "What the fuck are you doing?" I was like, "You didn't think I would come back here?" I was like, "Get on that game and do your fucking drills." Like, I was merciless. Taught her
Wait, you left
Genfu.
your date? You left
Yes,
your date to? No, that's mad.
yes, yes,
That's mad.
yeah.
And that poor
I had
girl.
a
Wait, hold
commitment.
on. So the date was just you left her a blitz. She didn't know what was going on.
Nope. Said sorry. Got another commitment. So I
No,
went
that's
home
mad.
and I said, "Get on the fucking sticks. What do you think you're doing?" So she went back on and she stayed training. I was, and I also made them join the gym with me. We joined the gym. I was locked into a super cheap rate, and I got them on under the same rate. So we were going to the gym every day. We were training every day. We were living healthy, eating right, training hard, and there was a tournament called GVN, which was where um, Michelle debuted, and they were going to put her first round against Mystic, the other girl who was in CGS, so
Hmm.
season one. And Mystic put up a big fuss because she didn't want to play Michelle because Michelle would have massacred her. So they put her against other guys, and she played well. She played very well. The tournament was won by Ninja CW with his new Genfu, and then Offbeat got third. Rakudo, the great Rakudo, who showed up the first time he showed up in his Red Baron outfit with the goggles and the flight hat and the flight scarf. Rakudo, this is the characters you need to have a scene work. Rakudo got second, and we all went out still as family. We're all having a great time. It's just an amazing time. And everybody was talking about Combine season 2. And at this point, I'm starting to see some things that don't make sense. So, of course, I'm advising players according to smart business, me being older than all of them. And I'm looking at this and I'm asking some CGS executives. I said, "Hey, something doesn't seem right. Last year, players got $30,000 salary. This year, you only get $30,000 if you're a franchise player, so you don't have to go back in the draft. And the regular players only get $18,000. When players start making less money, that doesn't mean your league is doing well. That means you're conserving money because it's not doing as well as you thought."
Hmm.
And they're like, "This guy's negative. This guy's a hater. He doesn't understand." But I was looking out for my friends, right? The DOA players. When we get there, so first of all, they have a clause in their contract which said that the pay stops for season 1 when season 2 starts 1 year from now. But the clause still said the pay stops when season 2 starts. They started season 2 early so that the players didn't have to get the remaining of their pay. So everybody was out $7,500. And for a fighting game player, that's a lot of money, Mike.
Mhm.
Uh, it's a lot of money in general. It's not like, you know what I'm saying? It's almost 10 grand. And the players that didn't get drafted, obviously redrafted, were like, "This sucks. I'm at $7,500. But the players who got redrafted didn't want to say anything because they were still going to get money, right? And I'm like, all this doesn't look like it looks like you're losing money. Because why would you do these are decisions you make when you're losing money, not making money. And the contracts read, because PL was like, hey, can you look over this contract for me? So I'm like, look, Carl, I'm not a lawyer. If I were you, I would have a lawyer look at this contract before you sign it, because I'm not a lawyer. But we're reading it, and one clause in there said, we can choose, even after the season over and you've done your work, to not pay you for any reason just because we said so. And I'm like, well, this is a terrible clause. I wouldn't sign this. And that's when kind of Swoozy was like, shh, everybody's a microphone. Gotta be careful. And I'm like, what's happened? What's happened to you? And like, there were people going around at the time. I know what he was saying, but what I was saying wasn't wrong, Mike. And I wasn't being like negative on the game. I was looking after the interest of my friends. Like, hey, something doesn't add up here. What you know what I'm saying? Like, and I remember people were going around from CGS telling people, you're getting paid to play a game. I would do it for $1. Like, and everybody signed, and it is what it is. So at the combine,
just before you go on, Tom, Sam, thank you for the $5. I have to go, but thanks for the lobby and stream, Mike. I'll watch the rest of the stream later. Also, sorry for my awful Tina gameplay. Your Tina was sick, bro, but I appreciate you being here. Thank you.
also Dr. Dog was also another good player, just big into the scene. Like these are instrumental people that have social media presence that are great for the game. I didn't not forget Dr. Dog. Lopido was around for DOA 4, great player, the great Lopido. We're at the combine. I wanted to, if Vanessa was smart, she wouldn't have played Michelle. I knew that Michelle Phoenix had never been in a real high pressure situation, right? It's a lot for you to train to beat Vanessa. It's different to be on the stage and play her. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted her to feel what it was going to be like. And they didn't realize, in granting a challenge match, they were basically allowing Michelle to feel this for free, which was foolish of them, right? Foolish. But they did it. I knew she would lose, but I wanted her to lose so she could understand this is what it would feel like. Ninja CW got drafted. I remember when PL won the combine, he went in the back. PL actually gave me a hug and he cried on my shoulder. And you don't understand what PL went through. From them branding him a problem to this and that. It was just the frustration of him just coming out. Like, here's an Evo champion. He's still being disrespected. Like, the best player in the world. And it was just so much emotion coming out. See, people don't see the side of PL. And of course he's guarded because the people treat him like trash now. You guys don't see this side of PL. Like, you just don't understand. You just don't understand what PL's so pure in his love for the game. Everything that's right. This DOA is PL's true love, more than Mortal Kombat. He adopted Mortal Kombat. PL loves DOA.
Do you think he'll come back for DOA 7?
I hope so.
Will you come back for DOA 7?
I don't know. Depends. So, Phoenix loses to what's her name? Vanessa. Vanessa gets up and yells, "Fuck you, Tom Brady. You are trash." Blah blah. What all this stuff, and it's like it's becoming a big joke in the DOA community, powered by Master. That despite these tournament results that I was having, and I would have some stinkers because I couldn't use on the pad, but then I would show up and place top 5 or whatever at these big ones, at these big majors at the end of the game. I had kind of figured out at least to be able to place in the top. It was very hard for me. I mean, it took forever for the technology to get reverse engineered. You couldn't play on a PS2 pad. You could not play on a PS2 pad for God knows how long. and I'm just stuck playing on this garbage. But there was so much trash, like and being talked. And then when I was at CGS season 2, when I was there for the season, I mean, like the GMs and everyone are looking at me like I'm garbage. This garbage player, garbage this, no value. Me, I have no value. And I'm like, what do you need the personalities? You need the stories. They don't want me to commentate. They don't want me to play. They want me to be invisible and out of sight. Master who could have lobbied. Nope. Because the problem with myself and Master is there wasn't enough room for the both of us. He didn't see any value in using me whatsoever in Dio and whatever. And a lot of the disrespect was because maybe he was just joking around, but it got taken seriously, and I'm sure he realized it and had too much fun with it. And I can't put it all on Master because I was angry, Mike. I was angry. But I want to give the CGS season 2 some. And by the way, Phoenix
Before
is
you
the
get before you
Kevin.
get to that, like I'm just curious because obviously we're moving into a new age of Dead or Alive. I'm assuming you're going to be somewhat involved, at least on this stream, and Master's obviously going to be involved. Don't you think it would be a good opportunity to like get together if I got him to agree and
I'm
hash
coming
things
to
out?
that. I am coming to that. I'm coming to that.
Okay.
Phoenix, by the way, is the only girl that ever beat Vanessa. Beat her twice. They were 2-2. But Phoenix, or I think maybe it's 3-2 Vanessa, but she beat him the first 2 televised. Vanessa beat her the first 2 non-televised. Phoenix beat her the next 2 televised. Never been so proud of someone. Like to work so hard like she did. That was not easy to do. That was not easy to do. And Phoenix was the ultimate weapon because Vanessa was 5-0ing these other girls. And then there was Phoenix. They had the only one that could fight Vanessa. Like, you have no idea. I have no one. It was almost like torture, which she went through to get to that level. Just insane amount of respect for the work that had to get put in for her to get to that level. I don't even know who's texting me.
Oh, have you got a work thing?
No, someone. If you just texted me this, I don't know.
Oh, you're not getting more prank calls, are you?
No. I don't have your number saved. I think I know who it is. I didn't save your number. So if you just texted me, go ahead and text me who it is. I think I know, but I must have forgot. I get really busy, man. So I must have forgot to save your number. Or if you're somebody older, I think it's never mind. You don't text me. So at the end of the combine, at the end of season 2 is when everything fell apart. Yeah, I know it wasn't you, Matt. At the end of season 2,
It's your date that you left behind.
no. I think it's the guy I was talking to on Twitter. I gave him my number and I forgot to save his name in my. I had like 10 things going on at work. So if that's you, then go ahead and text me again. So after we were all friends, me, Master, Mamba, we're all friends. But what was happening is these players were not getting the opportunity that they felt they had, and a lot of it was going to Master. So Master was being, marketed as the best in the world, etc. But let me tell you where I was wrong. I didn't like the shit talk Vanessa was saying. I'm like, who are you? Vanessa? Who the fuck are you in the fighting game world? Who the fuck are you talking to? Talking down to me? I have never talked down to Master, never talked down to Vanessa. Now they're talking down to me. And the joke started going around. What's he gonna do? It's not like Mortal Kombat was ever gonna come back around. But Mike, as fate would have it, Mortal Kombat came back around. And a lot of these players from the DOA community came to me. Before that, again, I don't want to go personal before I cover more of the history. Then there was WCG. So the first ever WCG, people weren't even know what was even happening. It was A guy, Nefarious Sage, went to from the American qualifier. Most of us didn't know what was happening, but the WCG for DOA 4 was big. And you can still look at the matches. PL versus Master, PL versus Mamba. PL ends up winning. Mamba gets second. Then they go overseas, and then Mamba wins. And it was like kind of like the Olympics. So PL, after he lost to Mamba, couldn't qualify for first. He had to play in the third, who gets third and fourth match. So PL gets third. Not because like it wasn't like double elimination, none of that stuff. So CGS, Mamba wins, PL's there. WCG, I mean, so DOA is kind of like getting its shine, but there's a lot of behind the scenes, like a lot of players that should be included are just not being included. They're missing. I mean, Mamba's not getting the opportunity he deserves. PL's not getting the opportunity he deserves. Offbeat's not getting the opportunity he deserves. I am basically seen as the most worthless piece of trash to Master and all those associated with him. At least that's what was conveyed to me by them. Like I was not spoken about in a good way.
Were you spoken to like that by any of these people directly?
Yes. So I just never understood why there was not enough room for all of us. You know,
I
I'm going to admit
I still want to know if you would be willing to sit down with Master and talk to him.
I am, but he will not. And let me tell you what happened. When MK9 came out, I was angry, I was bitter. And while there are players that did come at me to kind of talk about the Master Morris stuff, how he was being marketed as #1 in the world, and people thought that, even though it was PL, Mamba, Offbeat, pick a tournament, one of those three were winning. More so than Master. I mean, not that again, Master is one of the top players in the world. You're like, there's no shame in this. These are all great players. These are all great players. And it really, I love the DOA. I just didn't understand why. And they all knew I couldn't play on the pad. They at that time filed away as excuses. But Mike, I was as handicap could get. And I didn't have any. It's not like, today, play on something else. You couldn't. Like it was. I was frustrated, man. When MK9 came out, and they came to me and they say, you got to expose this corruption. You have a platform. You have a voice. People will listen to you. I made a video called The Truth About DOA. And I didn't slander Master in the video. I only used his own footage clips and kind of said what was happening. By the way, the first DID, I put $1,000 of my money into. The second DID, I put $1,000 of money, my own money into, to help get the payers played. Just so you know. I was angry though. So even after I told the truth about the corruption and everything, I just couldn't resist taking cheap shots at Vanessa and Master. Now keep in mind, at this point, Vanessa is Master's girlfriend. So I am really treading in bad territory here, right?
Walking on thin ice.
And I said Vanessa was a fraud. I said, I know you guys want to watch her because you think she's attractive, but why don't you go watch Kayane, an actual legitimately good female fighting game player, legit. I said, and then I said, Vanessa, the only thing she's good at is saying, do you want fries with that? Like I something like that. Like it was bad.
Yeah.
And then Master, I took my cheap shots, internet somebody, real life nobody. Like I took my cheap shots at Master too. And I was just taking a lot of cheap shots at Master and Vanessa. I was angry. So even after I told the truth, and even Inkblot, at that point, one of the canons, put the video on the front page of SRK and said DOA will never return. That's what he said in the article. And but it did free the plantation, to some extent. Look, I was wrong. I was angry. And now that I had the voice, I was going to stick it to Master because there's not a thing he could do about it. And I stuck it to Vanessa and Master constantly. Badmouth them constantly. Because in my mind, I was going to, ha, ha, ha. What's he going to do? I'll show you what the fuck I'm going to do. I was angry. I was vindictive. I was wrong. I didn't help the scene at all. While sure I helped liberate it, all I did was plunge it into another dark age. I helped plunge it into another dark age. And I was wrong. Myself and Master have never spoken again.
Why do you think he won't speak to you?
I mean, I was trashing his girlfriend.
Yeah, but it was like
what I was doing.
She's not still with her, is he?
And also, I was hurting his opportunity. And hurting any opportunity.
But a lot of time has passed since then, and Master's done pretty well for himself. I think you guys could reconcile and move past it.
I'm willing to sit down with Master. I don't think Master, in my opinion, would ever admit he was wrong in anything he's ever done or said. So the problem is, I have no problem admitting I was wrong and I was uncalled for and I was way out of line, extremely disrespectful to him and Vanessa. But he will never do the same.
If I speak to him and get him to agree to come on another time, just you and him, with me here, would you be willing to?
I would, but I don't think he ever would. And like I said, I was way out of bounds. I was way out of bounds. Extremely personal and extremely disrespectful. I was completely in the wrong. I was angry.
We will get angry. I think he'd be willing to. He seems pretty reasonable.
No. I wasn't the HBK, brother. I was the Bret Hart. I was on the because HBK got to stay. Bret Hart went to WCW. And Master, I was the more grounded technical player. Master was more kind of crazy, whatever. That's just how Hayabusa was. Crazy how that worked out. Apologized for ethnic for last night? Hell no. Hell no.
Were you genuinely annoyed at him yesterday, or was it you were just like you were attacking the argument, not the person, right?
I was attacking the argument, not the person.
Yeah, because he thought that you genuinely he was very upset about the situation.
Because the topic wasn't. Now, if it's about censorship is different. Because I heard they were putting black lines on stuff. That's just fucking stupid. But if you're gonna say it's different to say censorship, and it's different to say the females are still very revealing, but not revealing enough. That I have a problem with. Not revealing enough? How revealing do you want them to be? So, no, I don't have a problem with him. It was just the argument, not him. He was.
Yeah, that's fair.
It was not him at all. No, it was just the argument. So, DOA, it never recovered. It never recovered from that blow up, from the DOA 4 just bomb that went off with the corruption and the players that were annoyed at not getting the opportunity that they felt Master was getting, and the blow up between me and Master, and it just never recovered. It never got that shine again. And there's an event myself and Rabies commentated for DOA 5 when Lopedo beat Excalibur Blades. And the FGC thought myself and Rabies did a great job. We did a great job. Never brought us back as commentators. Tom Lee didn't want to do it. You got to be entertaining. Master is only as entertaining as the people he has to be. The Rock is entertaining, but if The Rock is going up against the Brooklyn Brawler, there's only but so much entertainment. I'm not saying everyone today's a Brooklyn Brawler, but you don't have those same rivalries and those same personalities anymore. Like, they're gone. They're gone. The very things that brought interest back to DOA were gone, and they just never came back.
Don't you think you and Master reconciling could do a lot of good in terms of bringing personalities back into the game?
I would reconcile with Master. You got to understand, and seeing how PL was treated, of course I'm upset, because this is a guy that stuck by me, helped me get top 8 at Evo. Why am I not going to stand up for this when I see this guy's being done wrong? Why?
Mm-hmm.
It just, and then there's Sorwa, Matt, who's in thing. I mean, the community just wasn't well organized. What he did with Free Step Dodge is great. Loves DOA. The community could have been so much better. Why these people were cut out of things? There's only, I don't know, DOA 5. It had a really hype tournament at TFC. I wish, let me see if it's on YouTube. So maybe you can put the link in the chat for people to watch. People like Jabali were tweeting like, this commentary is awesome. This game looks great. We did a great job. Let's see. DOA 5, TFC, Lopido.
I'm going to make it my mission to get these guys on stream together, guys.
Ah, man, it's not easy talk.
Master he seems pretty chill. I think he'd be willing to. I'll speak to him. Also, Tom, I wanted to ask you, was there because some of this stuff we did cover last time, was there parts of DOA that you wanted to talk about that haven't been spoken about?
Well, let me see if this is the video real quick. No, this isn't it. I'm not commentating it. I can't. I'll find out another day. Some other parts of DOA's history. Well, the stuff from 1, 2, and 3 people didn't know about. Yes, there is quite a bit more of DOA's history, actually. Well, at least a little bit of it. DOA 2. I think that's really what DOA actually is. If none of you, if anyone listening to this, I highly recommend you get DOA 2, the Japanese version on Fightcade, which was known as DOA 2 LE by us here in the States. That is DOA 2.
Does it still play well today? Like, if new players were to pick it up, would they feel?
Yes.
They'd feel fine, yeah.
I think they would say, "Why don't we have this?" DOA 2 is one of the greatest fighting games of all time. The reason why people always say, "Why does the FGC not embrace it?" Well, for one, because DOA always had a cataclysmic event which stops its growth. That's one. Before a game grows, it is always obviously embraced by a smaller scene, and then it catches on to the larger scene. 2, the defensive hold is just something that was very difficult for the FGC to grasp. Because you can hold it, you know what I mean? Like, you can hold that as stuff, etc. DOA 4 is really where things changed for DOA as far as like how the system began to change. So DOA 2 was one way. Then it was DOA 3 with the 3-point hold, the heavy punishment. Then Idagaki in DOA 4 went away from this heavy punishment system, changed the speed of most throws so that some of these more devastating throws were slower, so the punishment was considerably less. Then Idagaki added quite a bit of gravity to some of the old juggles, like Genfu couldn't get what he used to get off a super launcher throw. The sidestepping was not as good as it was. DOA 3.2 had pretty good sidestepping, 3.1 as well. The sidestepping wasn't as good. They tweaked that back. He put the absolute hammer to Bass and put Bass in the ground. But that's where the stun system came from that you see in more modern DOA came from. So DOA 4 started the first hit does not count. The first stun does not count for the critical stun meter. So when you hit the first stun, doesn't count toward that meter in DOA 4, and you couldn't do what's called stun launch. So there was a term that we used to use, and I guess it's still back, called must hold. The point of DOA is to put someone in a must hold. So back in previous DOA, a single deep stun would put you in a must hold. You had to hold or you're going up, guaranteed. Hold or you're going up for a full combo. In DOA 4, a single deep stun no longer puts you in a must hold because Idagaki decided that you should have to work the stun system to be able to get a launch height. So back in the old days, stun into launch would give you the same launch as a counter hit launch, the same launch height. In DOA 4, a single stun into launch would give you a very low juggle and your damage would be very low, which then put the balance of power back in the hands of the defensive hold. Because the biggest damage in that game was the Azuna drop. So it made Hayabusa just such a good character because he had the only real big guaranteed damage was Hayabusa. So you had to stun someone, work the stun system, then launch. The FGC just didn't receive that well as DOA was back mainstream again, and that system just didn't go over well with the greater FGC. And the defensive hold system gets a bad reputation because of that. It was far better, that's probably the best the defensive hold has ever been is DOA 4. And the FGC just didn't like it and having to work the stun system. Now they obviously improved on this in DOA 5 with Critical Burst, where they had all that stuff going on. And then DOA 6, I think they did something else as well, similar to that. I don't know much about DOA 6, but they did bring back stun launch in DOA 6. So there's just these little things about the history of the games and how they were made, etc. I personally think for DOA 7, I think they should go back to the double direction hold system. I think single direction needs to go out. I think that would bring the defensive hold back to what it was supposed to be. I think stun launch should stay in the game. Single stun into launch gives you you don't have to play the stun system if you don't want to. I like that if you play it to a point, to its critical point, that you get a guaranteed whatever it's massive damage, can't do anything about it. I think that's great. The meter, take it out, break, hold, whatever, break, but take it out. No, you don't need that. You don't need that. The defensive hold already has a negative enough stigma. You don't need that. I think DOA needs to try to go back to some of those things, but also keep some of the new things as well. They can keep a better sidestepping system without having to use meter to sidestep. They can loosen it a little bit. It doesn't have to be as strong as it is with the meter, but it can still be stronger with no meter. Stronger than it was in like DOA 5 for no meter or DOA 4. These are just certain things that I think they should do. I don't really know how serious they're going to take. The presentation of DOA is lower than it used to be. The HUD is as bargain basement as it could possibly get. Like, it takes money to make money, and Tecmo, it just seems like they want to put minimal financial investment in DOA and reap the maximum. As far as just the stages look great, all that stuff, but in general, even the HUD looks kind of like, I don't know.
But after what happened with DOA 6, I imagine they're probably gonna put a lot of effort in. Otherwise, it's just gonna be a waste of time and money. You don't think
Definitely
they'll go
bring
back to
Genshin back.
back doing the same stupid shit?
I would come back for DOA. I don't know that I would for Mortal Kombat because I think Ed Boon's lost it. I think
What do you think though that because it's not going to Netflix now, it's going to Paramount. Do you think that changes anything?
Ed Boon's lost it. See, as I said in my video that I recorded, DOA, Mortal Kombat hasn't totally lost its scene, but it's definitely lost its soul. The soul of Idagaki is still in DOA. They may not have done it right, but it's still there. They haven't gotten rid of it.
Mm.
So DOA still has its soul. It may not have its scene right now. Mortal Kombat has somewhat of a scene, but the soul of Mortal Kombat's gone.
What if they
So
had
there's
John
more hope.
Tobias back on board?
Yeah, there's more hope for DOA than there is Mortal Kombat. Yeah, I would come back for it if they did those right, did some things right.
Yeah, we can get a first to 10 beef set between you and Master. That would feed families.
I mean, I'm all for talking to Master.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and get him on. I'm gonna try and get him on to have the conversation with you. I think going into a new DOA game, it would be really cool to see you guys sitting there talking.
I mean, keep in mind, I will gladly admit I was 100% wrong. Many things I did were wrong, inappropriate, personal shots, personal attacks. Just, man, I was angry. I was angry.
Well, we all make mistakes. I'm sure. How many years ago is it now?
I think it was 2008, 2009. No. Well, I did this in 2011, so it's been 15 years, 14 years.
Yeah, like
10 years.
it's eons ago now. Like I imagine like he's probably just he doesn't care as much either anymore. I'm sure you don't care that much either. Like it's not a big deal.
Yeah, it was a long time ago. You guys listen to this. You got to play DOA 2. The real DOA 2. You have no idea what you're missing. Developers should study that game, man. Idagaki made the only game that's in the green zone, and it's fun.
Do we have to play it on Fightcade, or is there anywhere else we can get it?
Fightcade, and you can get it on like DOA 2 Hardcore if you get a PlayStation emulator. But Fightcade, you can play it online.
Okay, so you can't get on like the Xbox Marketplace or anything like that.
No.
Damn. Fair enough.
Yeah, I hope they get rid of the meter in DOA 7.
I don't think they'll bring that back. Not after the blowback they got for DOA 6. I think the gameplay will probably be closer to like DOA 5, probably just simplified.
Yeah, and you've got to get the personalities have to come back. Got to get the personalities back.
No, I agree. I think that personalities in fighting games go a long way, which is why I don't understand why people on Twitter like bitching and complaining about Porkchop and him doing his funny pop off. That shit's funny, and it's a video game. Like we're playing games. We're not like doing brain surgery. I fully agree with you. The personalities go a long way in the game's longevity.
Yeah.
Was there anything else you wanted to add, Tom?
No, I think that's about it.
Yeah, I think we covered everything. I'm still new to DOA, so I don't have anything to add in terms of history. I'm just looking forward to DOA coming back. I have been silently playing DOA 6, learning the game a little bit more. Do you know how to play DOA 6?
Nope.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say.
It's DOA. I've played DOA for a million years, but I can pick up DOA. It's still DOA at its core.
Yeah. Fair enough, Tom. Well, I mean,
and bring back Genfu. Bring back Genfu. Come on, man.
Oh, is
Us,
Game Food not in this one? I didn't
no.
notice.
Anyone who stands like this, that's the lamest thing I've ever seen. Us lame players, we need that, man. Bring it back. I love DOA. You know, people don't understand it today because of how the internet is and how information spreads. But back then, you had to create it because nobody was going to show you how to do it. The
Hmm.
reason why I love games like Mortal Kombat so much for is like a lot of stuff for Sub-Zero in my day, I created it. Like I didn't take it from anywhere. I created it, breathe life into how the character plays. In DOA, Genfu, Ian, those two characters, I was the first. Everything that was done in those characters in those games came from right here. Hayate in DOA 3, it all came from me. All of it.
Do you think that
Look,
DOA 7 should start with a bigger roster or a fairly big roster or a smaller roster?
uh, some, it's a modern time, so I can't be an old man. Bigger one. It's
Yeah, I was gonna say
modern
I don't
times.
really understand the logic of starting with smaller rosters. I've never really got it before. Even with older games, I never really understood why they always opted to go back to like 16 characters. Seems like a way to alienate people, an easy, very easy way to alienate character specialists.
Yeah. I Yeah, they combine Genfu's and yeah, he has Genfu stance, but no, it's not the same. So for me, I love DOA because anytime like you were instrumental in like creating how a character plays, like you have an attachment to that, you have fond memories of it, right? Because you put so much work into kind of like come up with how I know the designer created it because they put the character in the game, but you put the work in, you figured out how to play it. It's your strategies, and you figured it out. You were the first. So because I'm so old, a lot of these games I was the first version of those characters. DOA and Mortal Kombat are the franchises I have the most love for. My favorite characters in fighting game history are obviously Sub-Zero. After Sub-Zero, you get Genfu, Hayate, Ian, and then Boracho. They're
Mm.
pretty much mostly DOA characters. Look, love DOA, but I mean, and then Bass, of course. But
Do they have like interesting stories for people to connect to, or are you just saying purely on gameplay?
they have very interesting stories. Like Ian is Hayate, who lost his memory. Basically, Hayate, when Raidu attacked, Hayate got hurt, lost his memory. Um, the whole runaway shinobi story with Kasumi and Ayane. Um, the Hayate Hayabusa storyline. It's all very interesting. It's all DOA story doesn't suck. I think it's a good story. I like it.
Yeah, I don't know anything about it. I just remember playing DOA 5 story mode, and I was so unbelievably bored. I thought that it was pretty terrible, but I'm willing to give it another chance. Do you think that they'll reboot the story in DOA 7, or do you think they'll just keep going?
They should reboot it. They need to reboot DOA.
I wanted to read out some of the comments yesterday because there was a lot of people that were disagreeing with you about your takes on DOA. I don't know if you
Mhm.
saw the comments yesterday, but I'll read some out to you. Hold on, and just get your responses on them. There was quite a lengthy comment that someone put up.
Sure.
Let's see.
They definitely need to reboot the story. I mean, the story definitely needs to reboot, man. They need to reboot it.
So this guy commented and he said, Tom at near the end said the quiet part out loud. That's what the conspiracy theorists and gooners are afraid of. Sacrificing parts of the game they enjoy for what? Esports, less embarrassment, so some esports player can make money. Even though no one is arguing they should not make the gameplay worse so they can have more goon stuff, That's the argument that has to be presented, because what people really want to say is the content in the game is embarrassing us. You're embarrassing us. We want to make money. We want to be respected by a general audience. And if it takes getting rid of most of you, and the content will do it. That's why the gameplay straw man exists, because saying all of Tom was getting at would confirm and validate a lot of what some fans are saying. Let me put this to rest. The gameplay needs to be good. That makes the game, but almost none of the fan service guys are making the argument, because Guna fighting games with bad gameplay exist, and they don't play them because they got mid to bad gameplay. So the position in the gameplay thing was always a non-starter, because no one is saying it. Gooners have goon games already. They have goon fighting games with bad gameplay. They have porn too. So who is lacking here? Who is desperate for big money, recognition, and mainstream approval? Who's willing to twist, turn, experiment, alter, and discard old ways for supposed greener pastures? The FGC's been chasing the mainstream dragon since the death of the arcade era. Not much has stuck. No one really knows how or what to do. The latest victim was 2XKO. The fan service guys are very annoying. Schizos, sure. Some of them don't have a line. But why I can't fully shut them down is because what they're saying has precedent and is real concern, no matter how annoying they are. Tom literally said if it came down to chance at Glory Days again, he'll sell them out. Whether you agree or not, why shouldn't people be upset about that? It's a product they enjoy. They can voice their disapproval of the direction. I'm just sick of pretending like it's not real. And it's really interesting position gameplay against the fan service when the gameplay typically falls victim to the push as well. DOA 6 did its weird mixed marketing. The cool value stuff happened. Released hella DLC and meter no one likes. No one was happy. That's the point.
Okay, so it's not that I'm dismissing their point. It's that their point was that the sexuality wasn't over the top enough. So this was, I watched your video, Mike, on it, on the controversy. And it wasn't that DOA 5 has things that are censored with like a black line across it. DOA 6, I mean. It was that, hey, I saw this costume and it's not sexual enough. I hope they're not. That's what the comment was pretty much, right? That the outfit they showed did not show enough skin. It was along those lines, correct?
Yeah, they were saying that the Kasumi's new costume is a bait and switch because they're showing you loads of boobs to take away from the fact that they're not going to show you any thighs or bum. Which is a crazy thing to type. That was the tweet. They said it was a bait and switch, that they're getting you with the boobs to take away from the bum and the thighs. And someone left a comment under my video, and they said that what they're basically telling us is that us guys that like bum and thighs don't matter. And I read it and I was like, oh man, there's no way I could type that out.
And this guy wants to know why I dismissed that claim. What they basically said was, they're showing us a little bit, but they're not showing us enough. And I was saying, but isn't an outfit being revealing enough good enough? Or do you basically have to see if she's shaved or not? Like, how bad does it have to be for you to be okay with it? That's what I was saying. Because my point is, they're acting like they're not okay with revealing outfits. They want outfits to be extremely revealing. So if you say, hey, this is a pretty revealing outfit, it's basically like, nope, because I'm not seeing enough bum. It's not revealing enough. And I said, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, I agree with you.
So they are unwilling to compromise. If Tecmo says, here are some of the revealing outfits back again, and they say, yeah, but we need to see more skin, well, then there's no compromise. The Gooners aren't willing to compromise at all. Show us the bum, show us the thighs, show us the boobs, or we're not playing your games. And I'm going, brother, you're not going to play the game past a week anyway. Now they're like, oh, but we'll buy it though. But if you're buying the game simply to see bum and thighs, then you're not really fans of DOA. You're fans of anime and video game characters showing bum and thighs. That's what I was trying to say.
Yeah, I hear what you were trying to say. I think DOA is a bit of a touchy subject just because of what the series has been through. Um, I I don't know. Like, for me, I'm just like, I just want the game to do well, whatever that means. I don't know. I don't know what DOA 7 is going to look like, and what the success look like for DOA. But I understand like the sexy part of DOA being its identity. I think just the way some people have gone about it is I don't
Oh,
even know if
let
there's
me
a
just
way
say
to
one more
word
thing
it.
that I forgot to cover, and I know PL is going to tell me about. So let me just say it now. So in CGS, it was the most unprofessional professional thing I've ever seen. In a league that has millions of dollars of funding, they brought in monitors from like 10 years prior with some of the worst, like you're looking at like 7, 8, 9 ms of input delay. And when people complained about it, you were told to shut the fuck up and you're a problem. Can you imagine? Can you imagine, Mike, doing a fighting game like that?
Mhm.
PL in season 2, that was his problem. It was like 7, 8, 9 ms on a monitor. That's how bad it was. A league that had millions of dollars, yet they cut corners constantly.
There's a super chat here for you from Nero Arcade Gaming. Thank you for the $5. Real fans just don't want games to water down some of its core identity.
How old are you, Real Arcade Gaming? Near Arcade Gaming? Near Arcade Gaming, how old are you?
The thing with like this watering it down thing is that, like I was saying to Ethnic Weeb yesterday, that if they made the game in line with DOA 2, it's still a DOA game. It would still be faithful to DOA. But I think Ian and Ethnic, we were saying, oh, it's not good enough now because we've come to expect more. And I was just like, well, it's not a DOA thing then. It's just the fact that it's okay. Like I'm not shaming anyone for it. You just want the characters to be more revealing. But me saying that
Can
I
you
want it to be more
imagine?
like DOA 2 is not taken away from DOA either, because it's also a DOA game.
Can you imagine someone talking to me who was there since day one in 96 and saying, what about the real fans? Who are you talking to? Brother, you're post-apocalyptic fans. I was around before the apocalypse, multiple apocalypses of DOA. I'm definitely one of the real fans. And we got a guy claiming to be a DOA fan yesterday who doesn't even touch DOA 6. Now, I told you I stopped playing it, right? But I'm not sitting here claiming like, oh, this and that.
Lemon Tea, thank you for the $5. Appreciate the content, guys. Get me through these 12-hour work days. Damn, 12 hours. Putting in
I
the
mean,
shift
I
out
just
there.
don't get it. To say I'm one of the real DOA fans, Tom. I haven't played DOA 6. I didn't really play DOA 5. He's 30. That means when DOA came out, you were first born.
What year did DOA come out originally?
30 years ago, 1996.
Yeah. So I would have been 4 years old when DOA came out.
My point is,
What is a real fan though? What does that even mean? I don't understand.
a real fan is you appreciate the game for what it is. You appreciate the elements of DOA. There's so much more. Like, for example, if the gameplay of DOA is the least, if the guy yesterday said, I like the defensive hold. I mean, pick the most generic. If I guarantee you, could not probably explain 90% of the intricacies of DOA system. even from a casual level. But the fact of the matter is, the sexuality doesn't make you a real fan. I'm not a big Wonder Woman fan. If I was the Gooner and I said, oh, I started liking Wonder Woman when they started to make her look more like a stripper, but I don't like it anymore when they don't, then I'm not a Wonder Woman fan.
I've
If
seen
you
some
are a fan,
people. Go on, Tom.
if you're a fan of DOA, only as long as the sexuality is extreme. Like, again, I'm talking about the comment that started it all. They're fleecing us basically because they showed us a bunch of boobs, so they're not going to give us any bum or thighs. Then that does not mean you're a DOA fan. That means you were a fan of any gaming female character that shows bum and thighs. It doesn't matter. It's not exclusive to DOA.
Mm.
And if that's what it takes to get you involved, the sexuality of DOA was in DOA too. It wasn't over. It was, I mean, I don't know. I think it's fine the way it was. I'm not okay with censorship. I think just don't put it in if you got to censor it. Don't put a black line over it. That's stupid. But I mean, at the end of the day, even Idagaki, in both of his formulas, the sexuality is 33%, between 25 and 33% of the formula. What about the other 66 to 75%? Does that matter? And if you make the sexuality a bigger component, then you're more of a fan of sexuality in fighting games than you are the fighting game itself.
Mm.
To say it's basically like I'm not a fan of fighting games, but I'm a fan of DOA because I like anime and I like a lot of the sexuality. Well, then you're actually a fan of anime and sexuality, not DOA. DOA just happens to have that, and that's what you're the fan of, not the actual fighting game.
Do you think it's unfair? Because some people don't like the word "gooner" when we're talking about fan service. I was just gonna. I don't know if you can look at the costumes on here that you can't unlock. Yeah, these costumes are fine. Like I think these are all right so far. Nothing crazy about these. Okay.
Look, put that costume right there. Look at this.
Hey, that's the best I can do. It doesn't. I'm not gonna unlock that, obviously.
It's
Wait,
not
let's see
sex. It's not sexual enough. Hold on a minute. Look at this. What are they complaining about? The guy literally said, "I didn't get DOA 6 because they toned down on the sexuality."
This
5,
is
I mean.
5.
I mean,
This
this
is
is 5.
5.
This is 5. But look at this. Look at this. Now, a toned down version of this is still going to be pretty. You know what I mean? We showed some skins yesterday that were very revealing.
Yeah, like I look if this is what sells DOA, then fair enough. It is what
Here's
it
what,
is. I just
honestly, Mike, here's
it
what it
looks a
sounds
bit
like.
mad. It
Here's
looks
what
a
it
bit
sounds
mad.
like. That guy was 30. He's 33, the guy yesterday. So, hold on.
Is there a better way to look at these
Hold on a
costumes?
minute.
Like this seem
DOA
popular?
4, hold on a minute. DOA 4 was released in December 29, 2005. So if you're 33, I mean, he would have been like 12 years old. So what he's saying is DOA 6 is not as sexual as DOA 5.
Yeah, DOA 6 toned it down a lot apparently compared to 5, which
So
I
what?
think you can see.
Are there no revealing outfits in DOA 6?
I think there are. I definitely think there are. Some of these costumes are hilarious though. Like,
I mean, I just don't see the sexuality of the game being 50% of what makes it DOA.
yeah, because then would that mean that previous DOA games that didn't push the sexuality this much are not really DOA? Like, I
So
don't understand the
DOA
premise.
is not DOA.
Essentially, yeah. This is the most sexual DOA game. That's not a
So
volleyball
this
game.
game is DOA, and only this game is DOA. So wouldn't that make them DOA 5 fans, not DOA fans?
Yeah, I guess I don't know. Like, I just my only thing with yesterday's conversation is that where's Lisa? Because that costume was mad. I can't see it on here. Yeah, the only thing is that like when I mentioned, oh, if we make it like DOA 2, it's still true to DOA because DOA 2 is a DOA game. And wait, is her name Lisa? Am I getting it wrong?
It is Lisa. Or it's also, they have Res Lisa here or La Mariposa.
Oh,
That's
this
how
character.
yeah, La Mariposa is Lisa.
No, so there was a costume that she had on. Someone was playing it. And like, bro, come on, man. She's basically naked in this costume. That is a mad costume.
For someone to say, I need this or we riot, I can't hear you, man.
I didn't even know
I'm
this.
sorry, Mike.
I was joking yesterday when I said that they might as well just put them in nipple tassels. Go into the movie section. I didn't know there was a movie section. One sec. Where is it? Extras. Movies. It's all locked. What am I looking for here? It's all locked, bro.
Bro. I mean,
That
I've seen enough.
that costume was absolutely insane.
I've seen all I have to see, Mike.
No, they're saying that there's a crazier one. They said Ayane. Where's Ayane?
That one?
Is that meant to be Morrigan or something?
Yeah, I guess so.
I like. Listen, I don't like I said. I'm not hating on DOA Goonery or whatever. If this is what sells the game, it's fine. As long as they make the mechanics good and that I can focus on that stuff. I don't need to focus on this. I would like the option though, where if I'm playing online, that I can set their costume so that I don't have to see what they're wearing. Because I actually don't know how YouTube would feel because YouTube keeps on changing its guidelines as well. I don't actually know how YouTube would feel about some of these costumes.
I mean, basically what the guy was saying yesterday was, I don't care how good the gameplay is. If I don't see this, it's going to fail. What?
No, listen. I'm not for censorship. I really ain't. But I think going with a DOA 2 or DOA 3 style is not necessarily censorship. It's a different kind of DOA game.
DOA 3 is not DOA. DOA 3, I think, is Matt. You would say DOA 3 is the least revealing of all the DOA games, is it not?
See, people, this is what I'm
DOA 3 is
saying.
the least
People keep
revealing.
on saying that like we weren't censored. Making it like DOA 2 is not censoring it. This is what I'm not understanding. This is not the only DOA game out there. There's other DOA games. If
DOA
DOA
is the
7
most
is made
conservative.
like DOA 2,
DOA
there's no issue.
3.1, 3.2 might be the best. I don't know. I'd say DOA 2, but DOA 3, I don't know. It's tough. But and it's the most conservative. So it's DOA 3 is not DOA either. So if DOA 2 is not DOA, DOA 3 is not DOA, and DOA 4 is not DOA, DOA 6 isn't DOA, maybe you're not a DOA fan.
Wait, hold on. You want to hide costumes online because they offend you. Did I say that I was offended? Do you not understand English, or am I speaking Swahili? I said that YouTube keeps on changing their guidelines, and where's that character? If YouTube updates their guidelines again, and this costume pops up, where is it? You can understand why YouTube might demonetize my video if this costume popped up while I'm fighting, right? And that shit could get annoying. You know how they keep on doing it to Mortal Kombat? They keep on changing their guidelines. I'm just saying that, like, I don't mind these costumes being in the game, okay? I'm speaking plain English now. I don't mind the costumes being in the game. I'm just saying that if you're going to do something that racy where it's basically just nipple tassels, then at least give me the option to not see it, because that's kind of ridiculous in a fighting game. Can have it. It's okay. You can have it. You can have it if that makes you happy, by all means. But I don't think I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, hey, can I not get that on my screen? But I'm not offended by it, okay? I'm not offended by a naked woman. Okay, I've got a girlfriend. Naked women do not offend me. I'm just saying. And also these are pixelated women. I'm not offended. It's just it's not that deep. We're just throwing ideas out there. I'm just wondering if there's a crazier. Isn't this is a Virtufied character as well, right?
Mm-hmm. Sarah Bryant.
No, I don't think
mean,
there's
if you
any.
can arrange to sit down with me and Master, I would do it. But
yeah, I'll message Master and see what he's saying. That would be really good to get you guys on together. Yeah, I think that Lisa costume is probably the most outlandish one.
yeah, come on, man. To say give us this or we riot, that's being unreasonable.
Yaya's kind of game. Thanks for the $2, bro. Appreciate it. Can I see if the male costumes have anything crazy? Yeah, sure. Let's have a look. No, that's a pretty sick costume. Pretty good costume. Yep. Christmas.
No, the males aren't going to have anything crazy.
Yeah, I doubt it. These are pretty sick costumes that Akira's got. Maybe Akira's a guest character. Maybe they can't go crazy with him. Who should I pick? Brad Wong. He's a Dead or Alive original, right?
Mm-hmm. Not crazy.
Yeah. The most that they've got is like topless.
Mm-hmm.
There's no I ain't seen no Fidoshis or anything. Yeah, Heihachi's got a crazier costume. Check whose costume? Check Christie's string. Where's Christie? Christie. Lol. I don't know if she got a string costume that you're talking about. She's got a lot of costumes. Damn.
What's the next one?
This you can actually pick this one. Why has Christy got so many costumes?
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not offended by it by any stretch of the imagination. They ain't gonna see me popping up on YouTube if they put these costumes in DOA 7. I just think some of them are ridiculous. Like it's a bit too much.
Yeah, 100%. It's too much.
Isn't Rachel a pretty crazy character as well? Rachel's from Ninja Gaiden, though, isn't it? Yeah, I don't think anything is gonna beat that. What's Lisa costume? That Lisa costume is insane. But Yaya's licking his lips right now. Roku the Shinigami, thank you for the $2. I wonder who has a stronger Gunas, DOA or Overwatch. I don't know much about Overwatch, to be honest with you. Is Overwatch a Gunas game? I thought that there was a whole bunch of controversy on that game not too long ago because the voice actor said the character's too pretty and they had to uglify the character or some shit. Yeah, I don't know. I don't even know who this is. And obviously my yeah, I don't know, Tom. I don't feel like we said anything crazy here. I just want the game to succeed.
So do I. The DOA players, they need DOA players love their game. They deserve it, man. They deserve a seat at the table.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I would love to see DOA at Evo again.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I think that if they really, really desperately want it to go in the DOA 5 direction rather than any of the other DOA games in terms of costumes, then that's fine. I just think that there should be options for people. Like I don't think that I don't think there's anything wrong with having like a tournament modes and then like the casuals have their costumes and then online. If I want to play without seeing people in strings, I think that's fine. Like, everybody wins.
100%.
Yeah. All right. Well, was there anything else you wanted to add, Tom?
That's it, Mike. Thanks for having me on, brother. As always, it's good to get the history of DOA out there. I think you have to know your history, otherwise you're going to repeat it. And I really hope that everything changes with DOA 7.
Yeah. Hopefully we can get some proper costumes for the girls out here, not whatever this is.
I mean, come on, man.
That one is ridiculous. Is anything even covering her vagina?
Guys, come on, Mike.
That is an insane costume. I had no idea that this was in the game. All right, well, I don't want to get. I'm going to get in trouble with my girlfriend. Tom's going to get in trouble with his wife. So,
yeah,
we'll leave
Thanks
it there.
for having me, Mike, as always.
I appreciate you, bro. I'll catch you in a bit.
All right. Thanks, guys. Later.
Guys, we're not. Listen, I'm not hating. Okay, I'm not hating. I'm just saying. Look at this. Are we not? Hey, Doomslayer, listen, we're talking about pixelated women, bro. You need to bring your temperature right down because yesterday you were getting a bit crazy on the keyboard. We're just talking about fictional women. I think I've been fair. I think I've been fair with my takes on DOA. I've said 100 times, if you guys want this stuff in the game, I'm not going to push against it. We're just talking on a live stream. I'm not going to make any videos saying censor DOA. But in my opinion, in a fighting game, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. And you know what's even worse? That some of you are upset about it. But I'm saying make a DOA game like DOA 2 or DOA 3, and you're calling me a cuck. That means that you're not really that you don't think that those are real DOA games. Those are also DOA games, right? So if they make a DOA game in the vein of those games, then it's not censorship because those are DOA games. As long as it falls in line with some sort of DOA game, then it's not censorship. You don't even know what a cuck is, Doom. Hey, Doomsayer, do you know what? You've been talking crazy in the chat. Why don't you jump on the stream now? Let's have a conversation, okay? Because you sound like one of them keyboard warriors. Why don't you jump on the stream? I'll put you on here now. We'll have the conversation in front of everyone now that Tom's not here. It's just me and you. It's not going to be a dogpiling. Should have the option to turn jiggle physics off online. That said, I agree with 2 was the best. I don't care about the argument. Just hate the argument is still happening today. That's fair enough. I mean, I don't really care about the jiggle physics and all that. I don't really. This costume is just silly. It's just it's a silly costume. You don't own a mic. Don't chat shit, bro. If you have a phone, you got a mobile phone. Your mobile phone has a mic in it, unless you've got like a Nokia 3310. Yeah, that's got a mic in it as well. If if we send you the link to join the call, then you can join the call. You can't be sitting there in the chat talking crazy and you got an opportunity to jump on now. Now you ain't got a mic all of a sudden. You got a phone, bro. You come to the stream yesterday, dropping F slurs, this F slurs that because we're talking about a video game. Now you're in the chat calling me a cuck. Jump on the live stream. Let's have a conversation. You'd rather talk shit in chat. Yeah, I figured. Do you know what that sounds like? You're calling me a cuck? You sound like a bitch. You come to my chat throwing names around because we're talking about anime characters, basically. And you'd rather just sit in chat behind your anime profile picture talking shit. I swear, it is constant. That couldn't be me. My mom didn't raise no bitch. Okay? Didn't raise no bitch. Don't come into my chat talking shit. You have an opportunity to jump on here. You rather sit in chat and talk shit. Unbelievable. Anyway, like I was saying, I don't have a problem with DOA fans getting their costumes, okay? No problem whatsoever. But in my opinion, this is this is mad. But if this costume's in DOA 7, I'd say cool. Obviously, it must have been a high selling costume. Yaya probably bought this costume 100 times. Hey, Doomslayer, listen, I'm gonna do you a favor, okay? I'm gonna do you a favor because you're acting like a little bitch now. Now you're calling me names in chat. I'm gonna do you a favor. Time is very precious, and you obviously don't enjoy your time here. Okay, so one more little outburst from you, and I'm gonna have the mods see you out, throw you out like Jazz and Fresh Prince. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you one more time: know your role and watch your mouth. Okay, there's no need to come into the chat talking crazy over video game characters. If you're that passionate about female video game characters and us talking about them making a DOA game in another vein, you need to go outside and meet real women. Okay, you're getting way too bent out of shape because I'm talking about a pixelated character. Fuck you and your smug pretending like you aren't trying to censor DOA. You need to go outside, bro. And you also don't understand English. That's probably why you want to stay in chat. That's probably why you want to stay in chat. Because I just said if they make it like DOA 2, that's not censorship. And now you're talking about censorship. So no other DOA games exist. Only DOA 5, yeah? Only DOA 5. Is that what you're saying? 1, 2, 3, 4, they don't exist. Only DOA 5. Let me tell you what the problem here is, bro. You're perpetually online and you've grown an affinity to these pixelated women, and you're worried that my rhetoric online is going to take away your nipple tassels from this character. That's the problem here. Okay. Like Base Gotenk said, take a cold shower and go outside and talk to some real women because you're getting way too bent out of shape over a woman that don't exist. It's really not that deep, bro. Okay. Now you've already proved that you're a little bitch because you want to sit and chat and talk shit, even though you've been offered to jump up on here. So essentially, you're like every other bot that I speak to online that has something ridiculous to say when they have an opportunity to come up here and tell me why I'm wrong. Fate would agree with you. I don't care if Fate agrees with you. Listen, Fate's not a bitch. He'll actually come here and we'll have a conversation. You're a little bitch, though. Me and Fate get on. Even when we disagree, we get on. Do you know why? Because Fate's a grown man. For all the fighting that we've done, if I've ever called Fate out, Fate shows up. Fate shows up to have the conversation. If I message Fate right now and say, jump on my live stream, let's talk about the DOA costumes, he'll actually come here. But you're a little bitch. As a matter of fact, let me message Fate. Let's get Fate on here. And also, why do you care if Fate agrees with you? Is Fate your daddy? Is Fate your daddy? Why would you care if Fate agrees with you? What kind of man are you? You know, I didn't get to see Fate in Australia. Let me message him and see if he's about. Hello, bro. I have one of your bitch ass minions in my chat, and he is clamoring to suckle at your teat. Would you like to join my live stream right now? Because this bitch ass basement dweller won't do it himself. Sent. Let's see if your father shows up. But I like me and Fate get on, okay? What time is it in Australia? End the stream, but it's gonna take another 4 hours. I'm gonna give Fate like maybe 10 minutes or so, and then we'll end the stream if he's not there. I just don't understand. Like I always open these podcasts up for people to jump on. Why would you want to sit in chat and talk shit when you have the opportunity to jump up on here and have the conversation? I just don't understand. King Joker, thanks for becoming a member, bro. Appreciate you. Duke of Nylon, thank you for the $2. That's too much for me. That's too much for Duke of Nylon. Have you seen Duke of Nylon's channel? You want to talk about King of the Gooners? Duke of Nylon is saying it's too much for him. Then we might have a problem. I don't know what time it is in Australia. It might be time in Australia now. Well, it's 10:30 in the morning, so maybe he's awake. Because you have a speech impediment. I don't care about your speech impediment. You're sitting in the chat talking shit. Don't try to gaslight me. I couldn't give less of a fuck. You come into this is not an excuse to sit in chat acting like a little bitch, okay? You've got a speech impediment. Just shut up then. Just shut your mouth. I've got no patience for you people anymore. Okay, you show up to people's live streams, you're in comment section talking shit. Now you want to try and pull on my heartstrings. You've got a speech impediment. I don't care, mate. Stick a dick in it, bro. I don't give a shit. Phantom Gamer, thank you for the €2. Tope 2, what does that mean? Tope 2. I have no idea what that means, bro. Tope 2 dot equals. I don't know what that means, bro. You're just noticing the outfit. Yeah. Like I said, I've done loads of DOA stuff and DOA content this week because I genuinely enjoy the game. Like, and DOA 5, I think is probably the most fun DOA game to play. So I ain't got an issue with this content existing in the game. But if we're talking about it, if you want my opinion on it, that's my opinion on it. But it's like I can coexist with it. I just I think it's a bit mad. I'm not afraid of you, bitch. What does it matter if I talk in chat or talk to you in audio? Because when you're, you must be stupid to be saying something like that. When you're talking to me behind a keyboard, you could have somebody out there typing that out for you. Okay, someone like you, I'm willing to bet, will not be able to construct a sentence if we actually had a chat. Now you're saying that you got a speech impediment. I call bullshit. I think that's very convenient. All of a sudden, now you got a speech impediment. You're in chat yesterday calling Tom Brady the F slur because he doesn't particularly like the bikini costumes. Like, do you understand how mad you sound? Do you understand how mad you sound? It's actually ridiculous. People like you make me sick. You actually make me sick. Sitting in chat talking shit. And do you know what? Do you know what makes me laugh the most? People like you. I've read comments from people like you before saying, "Why are you replying to X, Y, and Z?" I don't care if you've got one subscriber or a million. You're gonna get treated exactly the same. Okay, come into my stream calling people on the podcast the F slur because they don't like a costume, and then you're calling me a retard. Have you looked in the mirror, mate? The reason why I want you to come on stream and people like you is that people like you will sit behind the keyboard and talk with maximum confidence. And then the minute you get up here, almost 10 out of 10 times, you have nothing to say. You'll go absolutely silent and then you'll tuck tail and you'll leave. It happens every single time. Every single time. But behind the keyboard, you feel like you know what you're talking about. You're all powerful. You got something to say. I guarantee you, people like you, when you come up on here or you speak to people in person, if you go outside, it doesn't sound like it, you crumble immediately. That's why I want you to come up here. Because you're talking crazy in the chat. I guarantee you ain't going to talk crazy once we get on the podcast. Mr. Jamie, thank you for the $4.99. Sup, Polo, I just got here. Dealing with training new people, project meetings, what have I missed? We just did a history of DOA stream. Tom Brady was going over his history of DOA. And now there's some idiot that I'm addressing. As a matter of fact, you know what? After that main man situation, I read some comments on main man's side of it, not from him himself, but people like you, and people like you, I know are probably watching as well. And the common comment that I got was, oh, I'm not going to come on your live stream because you're going to jump me with like Tom Brady and C4 and this, that, and the other. No one's here. So if you have something to say, come and say it. Tom Brady can dislike the costumes all he wants, but he's trying to censor the game, and he has connections too. He's not trying to censor the game. He's not. I can guarantee you Tom Brady's not trying to censor the game. He's given his opinion, okay? He's given his opinion on the game, which he's allowed to do, just like you're allowed to do. If his opinion of DOA is that he doesn't like the bikini costumes and all that, he really likes the gameplay, that's not him trying to censor it. That's his opinion. We don't have to fall in line. So I don't understand about people. Like, you're talking about freedom of speech, but you just want him to say what aligns with your viewpoints. You don't really want freedom of speech, nor do you want freedom of thought. Lemon Tea, thank you for the $4.99. The problem is these guys have no line, no costume is too much for them. And you know what? If no costume is too much for them, that's also okay. I ain't got no problem with that. If this donuts turned around to me and said, "Oh, do you know what? The characters should be naked." Well, if that's what sells the game, fine by me. If that's what sells the game, then fine. But if I turn around and said, "Well, I don't really want to see them naked, like it's a fighting game. I'd rather they were in something a little bit more modest," that's not me trying to censor the game. That's just me giving my opinion. Now, don't ban him yet, Alexis. Don't ban him yet, because now he's falling apart. He's talking about freedom of speech. He doesn't even know what that means. So freedom of speech is Tom Brady's allowed to have an opinion, but you can't disagree with him. No. Am I speaking Swahili or something? Of course you can disagree with him. The reason I'm getting onto this guy is that he was dropping F slurs at Tom Brady because he had a differing opinion. If you disagree with my opinion on the costumes or Tom Brady's, that's completely fine. That's why we have debates on open format podcasts. And that's why most people don't get banned in my chat. Almost no one gets banned. But if you're going to come into the chat saying F slur this over a pixelated woman, I'm going to look at you sideways. Obviously, I'm going to look at you sideways. You look like an idiot. If you don't agree with Tom Brady's opinion on it, that's completely fine. You are falling apart. Why are you so focused on what I'm saying? Why not? Why wouldn't I focus on what you're saying? How is that me falling apart? I'm just pointing out that you're a donut. That's it. I got time. This Tom left half an hour earlier than I thought he would. So I got time. I got half an hour. We'll wait for fate. You shouldn't feed the troll. I don't think he's trolling. That's the thing. I think he's just an idiot. I think he's a dumbass. Anyway, yeah, he hasn't got anything intelligent to say, so we can move on from that. Also, no, I've still got this thing on my screen. I'm just waiting to hear from Fate. I would really like to hear from Fate, and it's 10:30 in the morning there, so I imagine maybe is Fate streaming right now? Wait, hold on, let me check. No, he's not streaming. When did he last upload? Oh, 1 day ago. He hasn't streamed for 3 weeks. It looks like he hasn't been very active on YouTube. Hands where you can see them. Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I think DOA is an amazing fighting game. I think there's so many cool things about DOA. And I think there's enough in DOA to satisfy multiple people so everybody can get what they want. But you know, I know that it's a sensitive subject for people because of all the shit DOA's been through. But I mean, we're no strangers to sensitive subjects around here. I'm always going to give you my honest opinion. DOA is more than just hot women. Not to everyone, Iggy. Not to everyone. Some people it is just about hot women, and that's okay. Like I said, I don't mind that. If that is what DOA is to you, that's okay. That it is what it is. And I recognize it. I don't. It's not the part of the game that I hyper focus on. I find it. I don't know. I don't care. Like they're just pixelated women. I don't really care. Stop jacking off the cartoon characters. Yeah, well, I don't know. Maybe we'll get Fate on another time. Also, maybe this message that I sent him will make it sound like I'm coming at him. You. It sounds aggressive. I need to get some sleep. Yeah. All right. Well, let me just close that down. I think DOA is more than hot women. I think you're strawmanning. I think you should shut up now. All right. Let me see. Did I miss anything? All right. So tomorrow, I don't know. I'm thinking I'm gonna live stream tomorrow. I'm not too sure, but I'm gonna be doing a Tekken talk next week before season 3 comes out. So we'll be doing that next week. Got a video coming out, and that's pretty much it. So once again, guys, thank you for the super chats. There's meant to be a debate stream, but I won't say anything just yet because I think this person might end up backing out. Why wasn't he banned yesterday though? He wasn't banned yesterday because when he was dropping the F slurs, I was busy partaking in the conversation because there was quite a few people here. So I just left it. I thought the mods might have banned him yesterday, but they didn't, which was fine. It is what it is. It's not a problem. But yeah, because I got some time now, I thought I'd bring it up since he started talking shit. But yeah, anyway, yeah, I'm gonna go play Pokemon and get some sleep, and then I'll see you guys on the next stream. I don't know what it's gonna be yet. It might be a debate stream, but I need to see if that person's gonna show up because yesterday Emery Reigns was meant to be here. I have no idea where he went. I haven't heard from him since. But all right, guys, I will catch you soon. Take care. Have a good day, and